If you were told timeshares are a great investment or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. At Wesley Financial Group, we're dedicated to helping timeshare owners get out of their financial nightmare. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free timeshare exit information kit. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/radio. That's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ziprecruiter.com/radio.
If you're unhappy with your job or employer and you've hit a dead end, it's time to start your new career as a delivery driver with Host Coffee. Our local family-owned business is growing, and we now have openings for delivery drivers and other positions starting at $22 an hour with full benefits. If you're interested, visit hostcoffee.net/careers to connect with us.
Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Join me, Jimmy Allen, for the Creighton Athletics Hour. We'll be talking all things Blue Jays and interviewing your favorite coaches, so you don't want to miss it. It's the Creighton Athletics Hour, Thursdays, starting at 6 o'clock, only on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and your 1620 The Zone mobile app.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
1620 The Zone.
Osborne, White, Fiddler, Sutton, Davis. Fiddler and Sutton are on the low blocks, left and right respectively. White to inbound. He's got Davis in the left corner, Osborne in the right corner. Can Omaha win a close one? This is for the season. White gets it into Fiddler. Fiddler with 6. Fiddler with 5. Spinning, driving, shot up, good! 3 seconds ago, 2 seconds ago. King from half court. His shot, no good! The Mavs win! The Mavs win! And guess who did it? The Fiddler is loose in Sioux Falls with 3.2 seconds to go. Frankie Fiddler keeps the season alive for the Mavericks. We're going to the semifinals, and the legend continues with 3.2 seconds to go. The Mavs come all the way back. Final score 73-72. The Mavs to the semis. What a night. What a comeback. And what a hell of a basketball player. The post-game.
All right, Frankie. live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Yeah! Hey, get set! Here we go!
Oh, here we go. It's right. It is a Monday. Oh, my goodness. We got 4 hours of Russell Wilson to the Steelers talk. So
Is that why Meg was out there using F-bomb after F-bomb?
I'm sure that's what it was. Yes. Meg on Sweet 98 Mornings.
I hear
a
Damon
diehard
somewhere,
Steelers.
same thing.
Yeah, big Russell Wilson. 4 hours of that. I mean, come on, let's go. My gosh, if you went to bed last night, if you gave up on the Maverick men's basketball team, well, shame on you, because there you are. Frankie Fiddler, 34 points last night. Omaha comes from behind at 1 point, down by 10 with about 7 minutes to go, and they battle their way back to win that one over North Dakota. And they will be playing in the semifinals tonight at 8:30 against Denver.
7th seed.
Denver takes care of business against Kansas City.
Could this happen? I don't want to jinx it or anything, but there's hope. There's a gleam, men. There's a gleam.
If you look at where Omaha has played, how they've played, I should say, against Denver, it was not a pretty performance at home in this would have been I think it was their Summit League opener. It was the Summit League opener at home on the 29th of December. It was Denver winning by 15, but then Omaha went to Denver, returned the favor on January 27th, and blasted Denver 91-72. So your guess is as good as mine.
It wasn't that close either. I actually listened to a little bit of that game when I was here. I think that was the same day as that 3 overtime Creighton game at Seton Hall. So I was 19, but I remember it was like 30 at some point. So
yeah, they smoked
who
them.
knows what's going to happen,
right?
And what's on the other side of the bracket?
And you got then you got two teams that are going to be battling it out as far as pretty solid teams, and that's St. Thomas and in South Dakota State.
Okay.
St. Thomas beating North Dakota State last night 68-58.
So the Jacks seem to be the favorite there, but that means nothing.
But
this thing.
Omaha has played them extremely well. Omaha should have beat them there, should have beat them here, and so they match up well. There would be an overwhelming home court advantage for South Dakota State, but you got to get there first. But I will say this. The 2 previous times that Omaha has made it to the conference championship game, kind of a similar situation happened where a couple of teams maybe got upset in the path. It presented maybe a little bit more of a manageable matchup in the semifinals. And then Omaha found their way to the Summit League championship game where they lost to South Dakota State on a last-second shot that they had a chance to win it. That is just off the mark. And then North Dakota State the second time that Omaha had made it to the Summit League championship game. It was North Dakota State really handling Omaha. So you got to get there, but great opportunity tonight, and we will have that for you on our sister station, 1290 Coil. Gary will be joining us a little bit later in the show. As you can imagine, he's coming down.
He went right back to sleep.
Yeah, he's having a tough time coming down from that high. And speaking of
Not
North
that he
Dakota,
sleeps anyway, but still,
that was this was a very bad weekend for North Dakota athletics, men's athletics.
Nick, flex.
Oh, I'm gonna flex all over the place. Between last night's come from behind victory for the men's basketball team, and they move on now to the Summit League semifinal game against Denver tonight. It was the Omaha hockey team taking care of business for the first time in program history, sweeping the Fighting Hawks. The effing Hawks go down in 2 in Omaha on the ice. So just not a good weekend for North Dakota. That was huge for the hockey team.
It's cold there.
Yeah, well,
colder than here. I mean, it's beautiful.
I'm wearing shorts today. And that's the thing. It's Monday, folks. By the way, we're very happy you're with us. Hope you had a great weekend, too. It's Monday. I'm wearing shorts today, and I'm not even, really feeling like I'm getting carried away with that as well. So hopefully everybody had a great weekend, but I know for North Dakota men's athletics this weekend, they did not, and that's too bad. Now, North Dakota hockey, they're going to be fine. They'll be in the NCAA tournament, but for the Omaha men's hockey team, boy, they put themselves in a position to where now all of a sudden you don't need to win the conference tournament to get the at-large. If they could...
But you should just win it anyway because it's fun.
Well, that would be good. If they could get a win probably more comfortably if you can win a series, which is something they've never done in the NCHC when it comes to the playoffs. You would be in without having to win the tournament. That's what last weekend did. Right now, Omaha is in good shape. We'll get into all of that later. Nebraska is a 3 seed. We wake up this morning. Well, you knew yesterday after the Purdue Wisconsin game. But Nebraska men's basketball is a 3 seed. A team that was picked to finish near the bottom of the Big Ten 12th, if I'm not mistaken, is your number 3 seed, the double bye for the Big Ten Coach of the Year. That's right, I'm saying the Big Ten Coach of the Year, Fred Hoiberg. That'll be voted officially a little bit later on this week. That is happening where you've got the Nebraska men's basketball team who take care of business on the road. Keisei Tominaga with a big 30-burger yesterday. Actually, it wasn't in the night. It was in the early portion of Sunday. They win, so they have locked that in. And then also what was a fantastic game, and we'll talk to Amy Justin a little bit about this later on, of something that I read from a former, very respected coach in the Nebraska circles who said he thinks the Nebraska women's basketball game yesterday in that overtime loss in the Big Ten championship game to Iowa might have been more impressive than Nebraska actually beating Iowa in Lincoln.
What else did T.O. have to say?
And it wasn't T.O. Oh. But I thought he had some very good points on why he thought that. But heartbreak, yet an exhilarating just weekend up in the Twin Cities for the Nebraska women's basketball team as they damn near pulled that off. And the way that they were able to neutralize the very best player in all of women's college basketball was very impressive. So even with the result, not the ideal result, they came so close and almost get the Big Ten championship victory there up in Minneapolis. Didn't happen, but a hell of a run for Amy Williams and that Nebraska women's basketball team. And the good thing is their season is far from over as they play in the NCAA tournament as well. The Creighton women's basketball team falls short of making it to the Big East championship game. They lose to Georgetown yesterday.
Yeah, but that's the story everyone in the country is going to be getting behind and rooting. So the Flans will be okay.
Yes, and they've had a great season. They came up just short against Georgetown. They tried to mount a comeback.
Wow, this is something special here.
Yeah, they'll be okay. Again,
for those that don't know, Georgetown's coach died
Yes.
in October.
Yes.
So this is they were picked 10th in the Big East. They have no business being here, and here they are. So it's a story that needs to get talked about more because we need good feel-good stories in sports, and that's one.
Well, and Jimmy, you're right, because also
and Creighton will be fine because they're awesome and they'll have a chance to do some great things in a tournament. Plus, I always looked at it this way: if you lose in the conference tournament, get an extra day of rest. Does it really matter?
That's true.
Some cases it does. We talked about this the other day about Creighton men.
Well, they're not playing next week
to win.
either, too.
It would be cool. It would be cool to win the tournament because they never have. But
right.
But it's always a chance to have someone else get hurt. So you try to look at the positives there.
Wow.
You don't want anyone getting hurt.
They're going to be fine. They're going to be in the NCAA tournament. They're good.
I'm on their bandwagon.
They've had a solid season. We've seen Jim Flannery and that Creighton women's basketball program be able to pull off a deep run in March. We saw them go to the Elite Eight. And I'm glad you brought up the Georgetown situation and the coach.
That can make you choke up the more you read about it, because I was reading about it yesterday and I knew a little bit about it, but not to this extent. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow.
Well, because the SEC championship game between South Carolina and LSU,
that was not a feel-good
It got pretty ugly. Yeah. And you had some comments, which, again, I'm not surprised by Kim Mulkey after what she talked about with LSU. And basically, I wish she would have pushed Angel Reese and, you just, I don't know. Just the difference between Dawn Staley and Kim Mulkey, again, was very present. Dawn Staley is a class act.
Dawn's just cool.
Kim Mulkey, jeez. Kim Mulkey's Kim Mulkey. I don't even need to say anymore. I really don't. Kim Mulkey's Kim Mulkey.
I feel like Kim, and I would know a little bit just because I saw her a lot at Baylor when we would go play them. I feel like she's a bit different now since she's been at LSU than she was there. I mean, Kim's always been Kim, but it just didn't feel like it was this. Maybe it's because she's in the SEC and everything's getting magnified more and she's having the success at LSU, but it's a bad look.
Yeah. And I'm not even saying
Baylor was never hated. I never thought people used to think, man, they're good. They play the right way. They win with class, which they did. And now at LSU, people are not happy, and they're going to become a most hated team in women's basketball, which is also unfortunate because they're really good and they got some great players, and I like watching them play the game. But this is what it's becoming. Yeah, that's a bad story.
And you flat out had an apology,
almost as bad as Russell Wilson to the Steelers.
You know
Come
what?
on,
If
Positive Monday.
if
Nick,
Mike Mike Tomlin can't fix him, I don't know who can.
That's true.
But
we'll give Mike some faith. I love Mike
the LSU. If anybody is wondering what we're talking about too, there was a pretty nasty dust up in the LSU South Carolina State game. It had kind of been brewing throughout the game. I mean, you did have Angel Reese in one occasion pulling a player's hair. It was just leading to something bad to where Flo J. Johnson for LSU gets knocked down, and you had Dawn Staley taking responsibility for it and talking about how sorry she is to the basketball audience that saw that and to LSU. And, you didn't really get much of that from Kim Mulkey, even though it was her player in that moment that got pushed down. There was some real dirty play by LSU throughout that game too. Again, not shocked by that. Camila Cardoso was the one that was the transgressor, if you will, in that moment, but she was also getting her hair yanked on by Angel Reese too. I'm not trying to defend her actions, but again, it was in the aftermath of everything that happened. It was the
challenge, so but you don't pull on hair.
It was the way the coaches handled themselves and what they had to say about the incident. I thought it said all you need to know about those coaches right now. Very happy you're with us here on a Monday morning. It is Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy. Again, Gary's going to join us probably right after we talk to Tim Kruger. Tim is going to be in to give us an update on the brackets where, I think we could have said it a week ago.
Does he have an idea where Omaha might be?
It's
planning.
It's in eastern Nebraska. We are in Omaha, Jimmy.
Okay.
You just asked him if you knew where Omaha was.
Right.
I'm just telling you.
All right. I see what you're doing there.
It's in eastern Nebraska.
I'm a little nervous too. Like to see this happen. I've been all aboard the all three making it.
Where the Omaha Mavericks are.
Oh, I thought you're just being a smartass.
I am being a smartass because you said, does he know where Omaha is right now? I would assume most bracketologies and bracketologists right now are still are still putting South Dakota State in as the automatic qualifier until proven otherwise. But all of a sudden, and again, they got to get there tomorrow night first. An amazing comeback. The most deflating thing would be doing all of that work and then playing a team that last time out had a lot of success against.
They play late, right?
They play
so they
late
have
again.
time to,
yes.
and I'm not joking. This is the thing. They have time to just kind of relax, snap, and by the time you play the game tonight, you kind of forget about that. Whereas if you were turning around and playing early today, and it doesn't seem like a big thing, but when you play so late at night, you're just wanting to play the game. You almost forget, let's talk about last night. It's more, thank God, I've been bored all day. Let's go play a game. Yeah. Who are we playing? Let's go win. Why not?
They've got to take care of business tonight.
8:30, right?
8:30 again, and then
I know
tomorrow
this because I
night's-
just looked at the sports schedule you sent out to see what time I'm doing my stuff this week, and I have to say,
I know
it's gonna be a great week.
Yeah, you don't have a shoot around on Thursday.
Well,
so you're
now
good.
that I don't mind having a shoot around because they pay me for that. But my point is, I like the times of everything. I think it's going to be a great basketball week. Nick, I'm in a great mood today.
Oh,
I'm waiting for somebody to ruin it.
I hope I don't do that for you, but I'm just elated on this Monday more so than ever because of everything that took place this weekend, and even in defeat with Nebraska women's basketball, Creighton women's basketball. They're going on to the NCAA tournament, especially Nebraska, how good that they played in that Big Ten tournament. There's not a lot to hang your head about, and I know that's cliche. You want to win, but what happened on the men's side of things, Creighton taking care of business. They got one hell of a fight against Villanova where they were able to hold on.
It was their
Absolutely.
Super Bowl.
It was
they played like it.
The sense of urgency, the desperation, but Creighton holds on. So Creighton locks up a number 2 seed. So they will play
Still
on
healthy.
Thursday, and they will do so at 6:00, right about then, against the winner of the 10th seed Georgetown, 7th seed Providence game.
Dinner and basketball.
That's right. So you've got that happening. Even took in some baseball yesterday with Connor Happer, did a doubleheader, and
how did that go?
Creighton won the series. They
pretty
almost, they dang near swept. They couldn't finish the job in game number 2 of the 7-inning game yesterday, but Creighton's off to a great start. Nebraska baseball, they win their series against South Alabama after dropping the series opener on Friday. They come back on Saturday and Sunday to win games. So, I mean, what else can we gloat about right now? There was a lot happening with a lot of
Near
our local
record highs
sports
today.
teams. Yeah, it's going to be about 74 degrees.
There might be a breeze, but you could still hit a golf ball, Nick Handley.
Since
you look a little more rested than you did Friday.
Yeah, I'm eyeing a potential opportunity to play golf this week. Connor and I will be doing the Omaha Creighton game tomorrow night, and then
Another nice night too.
It should be great tomorrow night. 70 degrees, 6 o'clock start out there at the Chuck. I'll be looking forward to that one. And then, hopefully, as soon as I get done with that game tomorrow night, I'm racing home to catch the last of the Summit League Championship game because there's a rooting interest in there as well. Good morning to Rick on the stream. I saw that he was giving you his condolences, dude. I feel like a lot of Mondays we've been saying this. And, I have rooted for Kansas basketball for a very long time in my life, too. Well, that ain't good. They got smoked by Houston. But then the other thing is Hunter Dickinson with a dislocated shoulder. Kevin McCullough goes out of that game again.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the hell they're going to be bringing to the tournament.
They might not be in Omaha, which is fine. My liver and my wallet will think I'll live. But it's okay, Nick. We're a football school now.
Yeah,
my football coach is highly paid and new stadium and everything. So, the winter sports seem to be going. Oh, well, I'm not paying that much attention to them. Actually, their women have had a nice run, so they'll be in the tournament this year. So all is not bad.
No, it's good. I'm glad you can look past that too, because a lot of great things here locally.
Listen, I'm not like the typical students, and I was like that when I was in school. I say that now. I'm not a student anymore, but when I wasn't lining up to jump off Fraser Hall because they lost a game. Now, I will say there is concern because of Dickinson, and that's not good. But they're broken. The fact that they got beat that bad, and Houston's fantastic. I mean, they have a chance to do it all, and I would think that they have as good a chance as anybody. Imagine a Houston-UConn game. There'd be some blood in that game.
Yeah.
But 46 points, that's the alarming thing when I see that they're not able to score the ball, and they're a 6th seed in the Big 12 tournament, which
that's crazy.
I mean, it's a 31-team league, but
right.
Oh wait, that's the Big 10. That's Big 12 is only a 22.
Big 12's getting there.
But a 6th seed, that's
and
no guarantee, because they could end up playing Cincinnati, who they could end up losing. They could play West Virginia, who they did lose to, and I didn't realize West Virginia was wet garbage.
Yeah, they're not good.
I mean, I know what happened. We know that, but I'm saying,
Kansas has some head scratch, like Central Florida losing to them on the road. West Virginia
should have come to Nebraska, although they're pretty happy with the team that they have now.
Yeah, Nebraska.
Kerr's loss.
Nebraska is again. I cannot emphasize enough. If you would have told me that they would be a double by a 3 seed,
hey, they beat that ass
at
yesterday.
the beginning, and you know what? They took a pretty significant shot in the first half from Michigan, where Doug McDaniel could not miss at all.
You say McDermott, it's so easy to do.
Oh well, he spells his name D-U-G, like Doug. So it's Doug McDaniel, but he had a hell of a game in the first half, and then they were able to just lock him down in the second half, which was impressive to see. K-State never cooled off, but yeah, that was a solid win for Nebraska. And then you get the help from Purdue to knock out Wisconsin. So Nebraska is now sitting as the number 3 seed, will give you their path in the Big Ten tournament, which isn't bad at all. At least to get to the semifinal, if not, possibly get to the Big Ten championship game. How crazy would that be, too?
If they win one game in that tournament, they'll be on CBS, Nebraska ball.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will, which is very exciting to see. And you get the A crew, the CBS A crew, that'll be calling the national championship as well. So very, very cool stuff with what they were able to do. So, I mean, I don't really know what I can gripe about today on a Monday, where I can typically find a lot of things to gripe about.
It's Monday.
It is Monday, but again, it's going to be in the 70s today.
I'm just trying to give you stuff.
It's tough. Russell Wilson is going to be a Steeler, which is just exciting for the league.
The Oscars was an hour earlier, so it didn't end.
Yeah.
So I actually believe this.
Did you watch them?
I watched the entire thing.
I
stayed up to the end.
I didn't. I don't typically, because a lot of the movies
I haven't seen most of these damn movies.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. I don't know if that was any good, but I still haven't seen Oppenheimer.
I feel like I can't now because they say you need to watch it on the big screen. And
my wife saw Barbie, but she just said it was okay.
We saw it. It's a nice movie.
She said it was fine. I haven't seen that. So yeah, again, a lot of the movies I haven't seen. I've never really gotten into the Oscars, but I know when I got home from baseball last night, my wife was watching it, and I thought the same thing. Like, wow, it's really early for this. But then I was kind of confused with and by the way,
what living in Denver's
daylight saving was yesterday too, which was great.
Dark at almost 8.
Even though
damn, Nick,
we lost the hour of sleep.
But the daylight
should be adjusted by now.
The daylight time was saved.
It was saved. Why we don't just make this permanent? I
just made this a positive. You tried to go negative because you're just trying to think of
there's
something.
really
and
nothing I
positive.
can.
Yeah,
I've got nothing. I really don't.
I feel good.
But,
coffee is tasting good today.
It's going to be a great Monday, and our lineup, which is always powered by the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We got Tim Kruger, TK Brackets. He will be giving you his latest, and yes, we are getting down to it. One more week, folks, and we will have a bracket in our hands officially.
Nick,
yeah,
D-Pick's beginning to believe in the Handley reverse curse.
Oh, it's a thing. I know Nebraska basketball is. I mean, who took Michigan to win on Friday? I did. I said, Omaha, I did the same thing. They'll split against North Dakota. That was more of, it's because that's all they ever do. They always split
it was
with
safe.
them.
That's okay.
So, yes.
I had a blast.
D-Pick, you are welcome.
The
that was a
PA
blast.
announcer did it for me Friday night. He had a good game.
Despite his best efforts, even he couldn't ruin that crowd. That was
28 and 16.
I said this, I tweeted this out after Saturday too. Friday was fantastic as well. The best weekend series environment-wise that I've seen in that building. It was phenomenal.
It was fun.
You barely knew North Dakota fans were there.
Yeah.
And I had my reservations of like how the whiteout would look on Saturday if everybody would participate. For the most part, it was pretty good.
And it was impressive. They kept chanting about Ndamukong Suh. I just kept hearing Sue, and I was like, "What? He's here."
I got to give a shout. I got to give a shout to Dave Volnek. He is the national anthem singer. Does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
He knows.
I almost wanted to stand and cheer, but I was like, "Wait, that's not Jim Cornelius."
Well, so this was awesome though, and I loved that the fans did this. So Dave Volnek, he knows that when they say "in the home of the brave," the North Dakota fans always say "Sioux," and so he would always say "and the home of the," and he just drags out "the" and lets them get Sioux out. Then he would usually say "brave" after, so they can't like ruin that part. I noticed Friday and especially Saturday that our fans just cheered super loud when we got to Brave, so you could barely hear them doing their Sioux thing.
I also heard dudes cheering Chiefs.
So it was a little bit like the Jim Cornelius is the the Blackhawk fans just cheered during the whole thing. It was cool. It was a great hockey crowd, but it was a very plugged in, tuned in hockey crowd this weekend at Baxter Arena.
I just honestly thought their fans were just voicing their displeasure on the fact that Sioux should have won the Heisman in 2009.
That's what it was. Yeah.
I mean, look, the numbers speak for themselves. That dude, Cole McCoy, still has nightmares about him.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. He
probably nightmares about the
he might have
people.
had to see somebody about that. It's very possible.
Anyway, just my observation from the hockey game. North Dakota fans, big Ndamukong Suh fans.
Yeah, there you go.
And he was great.
I like that.
Great player.
Yeah, for whatever reason, of all places in the country, Grand Forks, North Dakota, next to the folks in the state of Nebraska, really appreciate Ndamukong Suh.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Kruger going to join us. It's crazy to think, we will have that bracket, that official bracket, in our hands a week from today. That we'll be discussing about that. So Tim Kruger will tell us about where Nebraska looks, where Creighton looks. What can those teams do, if anything, to improve their seeding depending on what they do in their respective conference tournaments, and also who needs a big week? I saw he's got maybe St. John's close to being in or possibly in as of now. So we'll look at a lot of those teams that are kind of on the fringe, especially for Iowa. Losing to Illinois didn't help. What do they have to do in the Big Ten tournament?
That's a them problem.
That is a them problem, and we don't mind that. We will also talk to Jacob Bigelow, get his thoughts on what he saw yesterday and where Nebraska is trending going into the conference tournament. It was really exciting stuff for the Nebraska wrestling program, and also heartbreak, but could it have been the run in the Big Ten tournament that could make a run in the NCAA tournament very possible for the Nebraska women? We'll get Amy Just thoughts on that, on wrestling, on men's basketball, on everything because that's what we do. Gary is
What
going to
is
be
she,
joining
sick?
us. Yeah, she pretty much is.
I mean, technically, that's her job. There.
She does it all.
She took the job that was once held by one Stephen M. Sipple. So.
Yes, and she does a lot. She covers it all. Amy will join us at 9:30.
Nick Handley's friend.
Gary is going. I don't know how that happened. Gary is going to.
You're a nice guy.
Gary's going to jump on the show right after we talk with Tim, and we'll get his thoughts. I can only imagine the time it was when he finally was able to just sort of unplug and fall asleep last
what time
night.
did
After
you send me that email?
About 5.
That's
I think
probably when he went to bed.
Yeah, I had a text from him that I didn't see until I woke up. So that gives you an indication, because I was a little amped up after that game too. I mean, not to the level that Gary was, because I wasn't calling it, but yeah, I thought Omaha was dead in the water. And then they come back, and then you get essentially a buzzer beater.
Wait,
with 3 seconds. That's when that show goes down, or that shot goes down.
Did Reese stay in his bed?
He did.
Look at that.
He actually did.
No wonder you're smiling.
Stayed in his bed all night. Oh man, food. I haven't had food yet this morning, but I'm sure it tastes better.
Yeah,
I'm sure it does.
You could eat manure and it would taste good today. That's how good
manure.
it is.
Hoping everyone else
manure.
enjoyed their weekend as well, because man, there was a lot. We got a lot to get into, and the best part is a lot of it is on the local scene. We haven't even talked about high school state championships as Bellevue West does it again. Wow. Crazy, and some good semifinal matchups on Friday, but leading to some state championship games on Saturday, with Bellevue West being crowned the Class A state champion once again. So pretty impressive, passing the torch from Woodard to Klein, and that's
just keep on rolling.
That is pretty awesome. When we come back, we will discuss
sports,
the Nebraska basketball victory yesterday, and don't worry, we will get into Omaha's victory over North Dakota last night. We will get into the hockey weekend sweep. We'll get into Creighton's victory over the weekend and them going to the Big East tournament and how that looks and how the bracket looks for them. We do need to at least acknowledge the two quarterbacks on the move yesterday. The Mac Jones one, which is enjoy being Trevor Lawrence's backup. That's an interesting turn for him. And then Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I mean, and I asked this question earlier. If Mike Tomlin can't unlock the Russell Wilson effectiveness that we saw once upon a time in Seattle, is it just lost hope for old Russ?
Looking at this video for Frankie's shot last night, I'm betting they're going to win tonight. And the reason why I look at it is they're not running around like, oh my God, we won. Frankie's like, I expected to win. He's just walking off.
Oh, that's Frankie.
That's badass. He's just walking off like high fives and everything, but almost like he expected all of it. And this shot that he made to win it,
the leaner,
that was not easy.
No,
there was a lot of traffic in there. So yes, I'm taking the Mavs today. Whatever you have to do to reverse jinx it, you do it. I don't know what we do for them.
I haven't really done much with.
Maybe we should just leave it alone.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't want to start getting into the, overdoing it on the reverse jinx thing.
They play tonight.
Yeah.
I'll bet on Frankie. And you know what? I'll go to bed early.
I can tell you this. If they make the Summit League final tomorrow night, I will not be in the building, because the two previous times I have been, and they've lost. So there is a little bit of that superstition. As much as I would love to be there, and I'd have no problem either doing the show in Sioux Falls that morning, the following morning, or driving back to Omaha on very little sleep and just doing the show here.
Oh, you've been hanging around with Gary too
I'm staying away. I'm doing it not because I'm like, well, I do a morning show now. No, I'm doing it because
you're doing it.
I'm taking one for the team.
Yeah,
taking it for the team. Man.
Yeah. You know what? Just for that, I'll go to bed at 8:30 tonight. I don't want to hurt their chances any. I'll take one for the team. I'll wake up in the morning hoping to see our sports schedule with last night's Omaha win. They will play tonight at insert time here.
That'd be great. That would be fantastic. The Equitable Bank inbox, where they take banking personally, open for you. You can email us. I am Handley at 1620thezone.com. He is Jimmy with a Y at 1620thezone.com. Also, the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed, also open for you, where you can tweet at me or the show. I am at Nick Handley 1620, and you can also tweet at Mornings with Sharp and Handley on the X machine or the Twitter.
Apparently, the Blackhawks have been eliminated from playoff contention. I'm sorry, Nick.
Oh, Oh, is it official now?
Yeah.
Damn, I was holding out hope.
Steve says, not Jim Corneliuson can focus on preparing for the Indy 500 and performing back home again in Indiana.
There you go. Yes.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad it's official now. Honestly, I didn't even realize it was official because and they actually won yesterday too. Yeah, go figure.
That's okay. The Mavs won. They swept North Dakota this
Yeah.
weekend. So nothing's going to bring you down on your hockey cloud nine.
Nope. I've been. I don't want to say I've been out on the Blackhawks. They've still got a lot of work to do. They've got.
I mean, that's like the Spurs. I don't hate them. They're still my team, but they're pretty bad.
They've got one of the most
Wemby.
promising, and I won't say he's the best because he's got a lot of work to do still, but they've got one of the most promising talents in the entire league. Now it's all about building around him, and we'll see if they do that. Free up a little cap space and be able to do that. It's fine. All right, when we come back, though, what happened in Ann Arbor yesterday and how that impacts Nebraska as the number 3 seed? What does their path look like? And my gosh, is anybody now even considering anybody else for Big Ten Coach of the Year other than Fred Hoiberg? Because if you are, I don't know what you're looking at unless you just want to go with the safe choice in Matt Painter. But still, man, just amazing. All right, so when we come back, that Creighton also big victory. What does their path look like in the Big East tournament as well? Don't forget,
look good.
They did, and they continue to win in a tough way, not only by skill. You got some Creighton players representing the all Big East first and second team as well, including Baylor Shireman. I'll tell you about that. Tim Kruger at 8 o'clock, Jacob Bigelow and Amy Justin, the 9 o'clock hour. Gary will jump on right around 8:20 or so, right after we talk to Tim Kruger. So we are loaded. We are excited. We are happy on a Monday. Hope you are too. We've got more coming your way here on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of
Carrier, turn to the experts.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but new Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with new Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Cops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Cops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
If you're having problems in the bedroom, talking about it is the last thing you want to do. Same goes for hair loss, anxiety, or even depression. That's where HIMS comes in. Through HIMS, you don't have to talk about it. You can do something about it. Just go to hims.com/start, where you can find a variety of potential solutions for the problems men face every day and save up to 95% on generic alternatives. The entire process is 100% online, making it incredibly simple, straightforward, and above all, private. If prescribed, treatments made using clinically proven ingredients are shipped directly to your door in low-key packaging. So if you're experiencing ED, hair loss, anxiety, or problems with your general health, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com/start and do something about it. Get started today at hims.com/start. That's HIMS.com/START.
You can find pizza anywhere. Pizza pie, pile pie with more. That's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives. You choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Unlock a world of possibilities with Special Olympics Nebraska. Our programs go beyond sports, empowering individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities of all ages through sports, health, education, and leadership initiatives. Experience a transformative impact of year-round opportunities designed to nurture growth and build self-confidence. From the thrill of competition to the joy of camaraderie, our inclusive community celebrates every achievement. Best of all, participation is absolutely free. Join us at SONE.org and discover how Special Olympics Nebraska is transforming lives one incredible moment at a time.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
You know, this song always reminds me, though, of the scene in Dumb and Dumber when he's dreaming and
Mary Samsonite.
Mary Samsonite, and he lifts up her skirt and looks at her bum.
That's great. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Now you get canceled for doing those kind of things. You can't do that, Nick. Don't do that.
Says, "Do you love me?" I said, "No." But that's a really nice ski mask. Oh, what a great scene of a great movie.
Yes.
But
kick his ass, Seabass. Kick his ass.
we are all in we're just in a euphoric state of mind on this Monday because again, 1 week we'll have a bracket, which is awesome.
You are. I'm happy, but like somebody got to temper it down a little bit here. Just,
Yeah.
put a lid on it.
That's okay. I do. I sometimes need to be. I need to be humbled every now and then.
But no, by all means, Nick. I'm all for happy Nick. So.
Oh, I'm so excited. And kind of like to what Gary I'm sure was experiencing last night when he got in the hotel room after Omaha comes from behind and wins on a buzzer beater. Can we call it a buzzer beater? He did it with 3 seconds left,
Frankie,
and North Dakota did get a half court shot off.
No, it's a buzzer beater.
Yeah, I still think it's a buzzer beater.
Would Rothstein start tweeting "This is March" or something for something? Then it counts.
Yeah, that's true.
Then again,
that's true.
He says "This is March" if somebody makes a free throw in October.
Yeah.
But
Well, Frankie beat the clock. Omaha has moved on to the Summit League semifinals. They'll take on Denver tonight. I know how he was feeling. I know how Gary was feeling, though, because like Saturday night, I had a tough time shutting it down, too. And that was the worst part is I had the doubleheader baseball game the next day.
Oh, that's right. You needed to get some
and I
rest.
was losing an hour because of daylight savings, but I didn't care. I was looking at all the scores in college hockey to see if some of the teams that needed to kind of help out Omaha indeed did, and they did. Omaha sitting in a good spot in the pairwise at number 12. Doesn't mean that they are in yet, but that was a huge opportunity taken advantage of by the Omaha hockey team. So, yeah, just that adrenaline. And then what Nebraska did yesterday, I told you, and it wasn't the same way I felt a week ago when Nebraska was going to close out the home slate against Rutgers, where I was thinking, man, I don't love this matchup just because of the way Rutgers kind of out-muscled Nebraska, and they didn't have one of their better players in that matchup, and they beat Nebraska, and then they were going to have it in that matchup, but it didn't matter. Nebraska defensively was fantastic in that game against Rutgers. They win it. I wasn't feeling as uneasy about Sunday. The only thing that I was more concerned about, and maybe concern's the wrong word, I was more interested in kind of looking at as the X factor was what would their overall level of give a blank be? And I guess I can't really speak on behalf of the entire team of what their overall buy-in for that game was, but I could tell you that a guy who didn't play in the game in Lincoln when Nebraska just absolutely floored Michigan, Doug McDaniel, he didn't play in that game because he had the academic suspension where he was suspended for road games. I mean, he was a major factor. Maybe the most impressive thing is as they were trying to figure out what to do and trying to neutralize Doug McDaniel, Nebraska offensively, that took Michigan's best punch there in the first half. I mean, Michigan, if you would tell me Michigan's going to score 43 points in the first half, if you had told me that on Friday, I would have been really worried that Nebraska would be in a lot of trouble. But all of that happening, Nebraska's able to put up 50 points of their own in the first half, and then they held Michigan to just 27 points in the second half. Defensively, they limited McDaniel to, I think it was just 4 points in the second half. So you make those adjustments defensively. Keisei Tominaga was able to kind of pick up from where he left off in the first half. So, he has an outstanding game. You get another solid game from Josiah Alec, who was physical inside, did a lot of nice things. You got a little bit of bench production against C.J. Wilcher. Knocked down some shots, had some good defensive plays as well. It was just all around. It was a solid game. And it was a game where, guys like Rink Mast and Juwan Gary, guys that you can otherwise get some points from. I mean, Mast finished with 12. He was okay. He wasn't shooting the ball a whole heck of a lot, but he was efficient for what he was doing. Bryce Williams was okay. So, Keisei, who led the charge, he was outstanding, 5 of 8 beyond the arc, 12 of 17. But you had enough contributions. And again, you played the 40 minutes by making the proper adjustments defensively, locking down a Michigan team that was shooting lights out in the first half. And you find yourself now in a situation that none of us thought Nebraska would be in, and that is the number 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament. And then you start to look at their path, which is a very favorable one, in my opinion. As favorable as it can be.
In Glendale?
Well, I'd have to see that bracket a week from now. But the bracket that we do know that exists here in the Big Ten tournament, as favorable as it can be for Nebraska, this is why I think it was really important for them to get that 3 seed. If they're the 4 seed, they would be taking on Wisconsin and the winner of Maryland-Rutgers. Most likely you're probably playing Wisconsin, but all 3 teams involved in that game, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Rutgers, have all beat Nebraska. As the number 3 seed, Nebraska will take on the winner of Indiana and either Penn State or Michigan. You see where I'm going there? Penn State, Michigan, and Indiana, Nebraska's had a lot of success against. So that is a nice, favorable draw. As favorable as it can be. Again, if you're willing and ready to just 100% wrap your arms around the Nebraska basketball program and say, I believe, that is the big difference, in my opinion, between the 3 and the 4 seed. We talk about this all the time, Jimmy, whether it's the NCAA tournament or conference tournaments, matchups. If they fall to the 4 seed, which again, nobody would be discouraged. Everybody like, they're still getting a double bye. My gosh, they were a preseason pick to finish 12. They finished 4. They're playing on Friday.
Nebraska.
They avoided Wednesday and Thursday. I don't care where they are. But that's a major difference between the 3 and the 4 seed when you look at that.
There are many teams that are going to avoid all the days except Wednesday. So
the matchups that they would have now, you look at what they would have. Okay, let's say they take care of business on Friday against either Indiana and Penn State and or Michigan, then they would be most likely playing Illinois. Illinois is the 2 seed. Illinois will take on the winner of Iowa, Ohio State. But I don't hate that because Nebraska's only matchup against Illinois was actually one of their better road games that they lost. But I mean, if we're just not including the result, there's 2 road games in conference play that Nebraska had, and that was Indiana and yesterday against Michigan. But a game that they looked great in that they just couldn't finish was Illinois. So they'll be confident. I don't think there's any looking at Illinois thinking, this is a daunting task. So I like that for them. It's a great opportunity for Nebraska. Friday's going to be a huge opportunity because of the way that bracket shakes out. I think you're feeling pretty confident about who you could potentially face on Friday. And as you mentioned, Jimmy, if you're playing on Saturday, you're playing on CBS. You're playing in front of that national
regular
audience.
TV, bunny ears. You can watch it
with the CBS A team as well. And
which is new this year.
Dare I say, if they're playing on Sunday, and I think
Bill Raftery,
it might have been
Josiah Alec, and Casey all walk into a bar after Sunday's game.
It might have been Jacob Bigelow who brought this up.
And Jacob, he joins them.
How cool would it be as you're getting ready to kind of settle in for your Selection Sunday viewing? Or I think it was Christopherson who said that. But everybody always watches that CBS game. You watch that Big Ten championship game, and so you're watching that as your lead-in to the selection show. And if you could see Nebraska on that championship game, just like we saw the women's basketball team yesterday, and in front of that national audience against Iowa, that's awesome for the program. That's great.
Yeah. All because Matt Rule came to Nebraska. Wait, sorry, I'm conditioned to say that.
So the tournament,
he should go to the game. He should be a fan.
Wouldn't shock me if he is.
Just
there.
like how Bruce Pearl used to go shirtless with the band.
Is it bad? I kind of expect them to be.
No, he's like, wait, I want to go to a basketball game.
Yeah, because they don't start. I was going to say they start this Sunday. No, it's they don't start spring ball for another 2 weeks.
Come on, he can fly with Trev. Trev's got his own plane.
The tournament begins on Wednesday, and you will have Peacock bringing you those games on Wednesday. Maryland Rutgers is your 12-13 matchup, and then it'll be 14 Michigan, 11 Penn State. Those are on Peacock.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Waiting for the good teams to play later in the week.
That's pretty brutal.
That's why it's on Peacock.
Yeah.
So if you're a Nebraska fan, you're like, can we put Friday's game on Peacock just to, be sure with Jack?
Well, to be sure, I guess. I'm sure Peacock would like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'll pick them to lose by 50.
Chance to get more subscriptions. Yeah, I don't even care who Nebraska plays on Friday. They're going to lose that game.
They're going to lose to all 3 teams.
Yes,
in the same game.
Mm-hmm.
It should be really bad. Like 20 on 5. It's not fair.
Oh yeah, and
15 on 5.
I don't even know what seed they'll be in the NCAA tournament. I don't even think it matters because they're going to lose.
It'll be 16.
So, but Thursday you've got Michigan State. Michigan State just drawn the 8th seed. They'll take on 9th seed Minnesota. That's on Thursday. Then you got Iowa as a 7 seed. They'll take on Ohio State. Iowa, again, good run there towards the end, but they are on a lot of people's brackets on the outside looking in. They're going to have to make a run in Minneapolis if they want to get in the NCAA tournament. But they are the 7 seed taking on 10 seed Ohio State. Wisconsin will take on the winner, as I mentioned, of Maryland Rutgers, and then Indiana will take on the winner of Penn State Michigan. And then your big boys on Friday. Just great to say. Number 1 seed Purdue will open the day on Friday. Then it'll be 4th seed Northwestern will follow them. Then 2nd seed Illinois, and then Nebraska, the number 3 seed. They will be the very last game on Friday. So it'll be another fish fry viewing party.
Yes.
We'll have more fish fry viewing parties going on.
I should go to one. John says I shouldn't go to one because they serve fish, but they have beer.
So you don't like fish?
No, I love fish.
Okay.
John doesn't. John emails me. John's a great dude.
We're going to try to do the Fort Calhoun one. Apparently that is a very good one. So
didn't you tell me to do the monolithic one?
I haven't done that. I was told Monolithic has one though. Okay. Yes, I've yet to do it.
I went there last Sunday.
I've been to Monolithic many of times, but I
realized
have not.
You could sit next to a water feature.
Oh yeah, a little man-made pond out there.
There's ducks. I was talking to them.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Sure, they enjoyed that. Jimmy's got an update into the 7 o'clock hour coming up. We will also talk about Creighton and what their path looks like as the Jays really out-toughing Villanova, and a good look for Creighton as they finish up the regular season as the number 2 seed in the Big East tournament.
Got to be happy where things are looking right now.
Yes, I would totally agree with that. And we will take a look at that. Also, just an incredible effort. And there was a post by a very highly regarded, well-respected former Nebraska coach with his thoughts on the Nebraska women's appearance. And
what did Frank have to say?
Not Frank either. Not Frank, but a guy that I thought had some good perspective. And it begs the question that I want to ask our audience, but also we'll ask Amy Just in the 9:30 segment. Was their performance against Iowa in the Big Ten championship game, given all the circumstances, neutral site and all, was that more impressive than Nebraska's come-from-behind victory in Lincoln over Iowa? And what could this mean for Nebraska women in the NCAA tournament after what they just went through this past weekend up in the Twin Cities? All of that still to come. Again, Gary Sharp's going to jump back on right after we talk to Tim Kruger. Tim joins us in an hour. We'll get an update on his brackets. Our last one with Tim before it's actually official. So this is a big one. He will join us in studio in 1 hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center, there's an injury crash causing delays on northbound 42nd and Miranda Street. Also, there's reports of disabled vehicles on the left and right shoulder of eastbound I-80 at 42nd. Everything else is smooth sailing at the moment. I'll keep you updated in the coming hours once traffic starts picking up. Just be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery is back. Up until April 2nd, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter to be one of 14 weekly winners of $5,000 or $500. Details at nelottery.com. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
Woodhouse GMC is bringing you more for the new year. With every new GMC purchase from Woodhouse, we're including 3 years of scheduled maintenance. Plus, with our current lease offers going on now, you'll save even more. Lease a 2024 GMC Terrain SLE for $389 a month for 39 months, 10,000 miles per year. Woodhouse GMC. We are professional grade. With approved credit, must finance with GM Financial. Must currently lease a 2019 or newer GM vehicle to qualify. $1,995 down payment and first payment plus $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires April 1st, 2024. See dealer for details.
What's keeping you from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make learning fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. And in 10 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
That's not long.
It's not hard.
It's perfect.
It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. We've helped over 30,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. At Wesley Financial Group, we're dedicated to helping timeshare owners get out of their financial nightmare. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free timeshare exit information kit. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Velocity Clinical Research in Omaha frequently conducts clinical trials for a broad range of investigational treatments. Typical studies involve medications for high cholesterol, diabetes, infectious diseases, and others. They also perform vaccine studies for people of all ages, conducting innovative research that has a positive impact on lives. Click for current trials at velocityclinicaltrials.com. More trials are launching in March. Compensation for study-related time and travel. Find out more at velocityclinicaltrials.com.
A toast to our new college grad who fills us with so much joy, almost as much as when we're in our RV. Oh, the world is your oyster, kiddo, and ours too. Now that we're covered with Progressive, Dad and I can hop in our RV anytime we want. Might even splurge on a retractable awning. Ooh, look out. Sorry, what was I talking about?
Protect your loved one with an RV policy from Progressive. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Just call this MILF Monday since we're being positive.
What?
Yeah, we're back here on a MILF Monday. We're just trying them out. The Manic Monday, Musing Monday. I don't know. Music Monday. Whatever.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's Positive Monday with Positive Nick.
Yeah, very positive. Very positive day. It's a great Monday. It's Monday, folks.
On 1620 K-Love. Wait. Somebody heard that at the wrong time and thought, did they flip to easy listening?
No, we're just extremely positive. We're like FM morning DJs right now.
I mean,
that's what we are.
Is there going to be a band that's going to come over and hold up the station and everything because we have to play their song, and then we try to explain to them, guys, this is a sports station.
Yeah.
If you're going to hold up a station, you might want to go to one of the other ones. Literally any of the other ones.
Well, we got local sports to talk about.
In fact,
because everything is good right now.
In fact, if you want to play your song, why don't you go over to 1290? We'll put it on repeat. What's the worst that could happen? Anyway, Nebraska ball will be the number 3 seed for this week's Big Ten men's basketball tournament. That's happening. Yes. Basketball superpower Nebraska. The Huskers will be off until the quarterfinal. They don't even play until most of the other teams beat each other.
I know.
They'll play Friday at approximately 8 p.m. as
Just
you
sit
digest
back
that
and
fish.
let it all unfold and say, all right, I don't care. Just let us know who we're playing and when we need to be there.
After you go to your fish fry, you go home, you unbutton the pants a little, and you just you put on the stretchy pants and just relax. Anyway, they finished the regular season 22-9. They've won 5 of its last 6 games following Sunday's 85-70 win over Michigan and Juwan Howard's senior day. The 22 wins ranks as the second highest total in school history, while the number 3 seed is Nebraska's highest since joining the Big Ten in 2010-11. It's the best conference finish since tying for second in the Big 8 in the 1992-93 season, and I remember that year well. That's the year I turned 10. That was a big year. The Nebraska ball women push Iowa to the brink, forcing overtime before falling 94-89 in the extra period in front of 18,534 fans and a national television audience on CBS yesterday, all to watch one of the other players that plays for the other team. Yesterday at the Target Center, Alexis Markowski's pretty darn good herself. She tied the Nebraska school record with her 40th career double-double by leading the Huskers with 23 points and 13 rebounds, with 5 assists and a pair of steals. That was like a good David Robinson or Tim Duncan stat line.
Hell yeah.
Caitlin Clark, who plays for said other team, had 34 points and 12 rebounds. Creighton women's basketball. Oh, yeah, she tied the game, said overtime. Whatever, who cares? She plays for the other team. Creighton women's basketball suffers a 55-46 loss to 6th seed Georgetown, the Big East Tournament semifinals, the sentimental favorite, the Hoyas. The loss drops the Fighting Plants to 25-5 on the season. Seriously, how are you flying under the radar at 25-5? That's what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why I like them to have a nice run. That's a really, really good team. Georgetown improves 22-10 overall, advances to their first Big East tournament championship program history. So good luck to them. Okay, now the Creighton fans here can at least get behind them and say, you know what, we wanted to win, but that's the feel-good story. They're probably playing UConn. So now everyone's going to get behind Georgetown.
Yes.
Anyway.
Agreed.
Speaking of Creighton basketball, they're good. Remember, it's basketball state. Baylor Shireman was named a unanimous first-team All-Big East selection. Guys, his friends, Trey Alexander and Ryan Kalkbrenner, were named second-team All-Big East. This was yesterday. The Blue Jays are the only team with 3 men honored on one of the top 2 teams. So, flex on that.
Yeah. Take that.
This is after the Jays outlast Villanova 69-67 Saturday in Philly. They almost blew a 24-point lead. So that's okay because they won. You sweat it out. You got a little tougher. It's kind of like in The Fifth Element where they shoot into that ball of mass and it just grows bigger because that's kind of what happened here. So Creighton and their big ball of mass heads to New York City. They don't play till Thursday night at the Big East tournament. It's presented by Jeep now. Whatever happened to Aeropostale?
That's true.
Anyway, they'll be the number 2 seed. They play at 6 p.m. Love it. Madison Square Garden, New York City against the winner of Wednesday's Georgetown Providence game. Number 6, Omaha upset North Dakota with a stunning 9-point comeback. In the final 3 minutes, you might have heard the highlight to begin the show. If not, the radio replays got it all. They win 73-72 and move on to the semifinals against number 7, Denver. Frankie Fiddler, the hero, once again, shot 15 for 27, season-high 34 points. He also led the team with 10 rebounds for a double-double. First in steals with 2 and recorded Omaha's only block. Oh, and he won the game with a shot with 3.2 seconds to play. This is the first time since the 2018-19 season that the Mavericks will play in the semifinals, which will come your way tonight with Gary on Coil at 8:30. That's his time for a basketball game. He likes a late game.
He does.
Yeah, so good for him. And let's see, we haven't gotten all the positives yet. Anyway, we got Nebraska ball in there. They'll play either Indiana, Penn State, Michigan, or all 3. Doesn't matter. We'll see. They'll beat them all together at the same time. Oh, yes. Can't forget this. Omaha Hockey secures the program's first ever sweep over North Dakota, and all their friends that came down over the weekend did see some yesterday at the zoo, so they stuck around for a little longer. There are a lot of Iowa fans at the zoo, by the way.
Oh, really?
A lot.
Well, it's very close to the border.
I would almost call the Omaha Zoo Kinnick East.
Yeah, we like to call stadiums like north, south, east, west. Wherever they're going. So
nice people, though.
Yeah,
you knew they're from Iowa. Anyway, Omaha will head to Colorado Springs next week, and great town for the quarterfinal round of the NCHE playoffs against Colorado College. Hopefully, they'll all go and take a walk there at the Garden of the Gods, which is a nice time. And finally, Russell Wilson plans to sign with your Pittsburgh Steelers. Wilson will sign a 1-year deal for the veterans minimum, which is $1.2 million. That's because the Denver Broncos, where Russell used to ride, told him last week he would be released, but they'll pay the rest of his $37.8 million salary while he wears the black and yellow of the Steelers. That's nice. The other team's paying you. That's how bad they wanted him gone. In a social media post Sunday night, of course, he had to get on he wrote, year 13, grateful. With it was an accompanying video of the Steelers and their fans. Everything very choreographed. Everything's done with intention. Nothing by accident. Steelers country. Let's ride.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Like I'm so excited for Steelers fans.
Was Neil O'Donnell not?
I was really excited when you guys had Mitch Trubisky as well,
Bubby Brister,
and now I'm really excited with Russell Wilson. It should be fantastic.
Is Tommy Maddox not available?
The AFC North is. I mean, they're taking inventory right now. Just Joe Burrow waking up this morning like, oh no, this isn't good. Lamar Jackson like, oof. Although, I mean, think about it though. On its face, Russell Wilson is still a name. Is still a guy that we've talked about it. Still a Hall of Famer, but a guy that his stock has dwindled significantly. That you start to though kind of look at the overall abilities. Now, some of these are different. Some guys, just think about these guys at their peak. And maybe we haven't even seen Joe Burrow yet at his peak. But think of the AFC North quarterbacks right now, though. You add Russell Wilson into that mix. Russell Wilson at his best, pretty damn good. He was a tier 1 guy. I don't even think there was any debating that. Was he elite? Again, when he was getting, I shouldn't say he was getting the Seahawks to the Super Bowl because that was the defense, but when he was putting up some huge numbers, having almost MVP-like years, he was considered to be in that elite category. But Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, and Lamar Jackson. Deshaun Watson, not the same dude he was when he was in Houston. But think about him when he was at his peak. And okay, let's excuse the puns or the jokes
That's
aside.
okay. They're there for you.
But Deshaun Watson, can you argue when he was with Houston was one of the most exciting talents at that position? He just kind of had a crap team around him, had a kind of a crap organization around him. But then you look at Lamar Jackson. I mean, his career, and especially this last season, speaks for itself.
Till the AFC Championship when you forget to run the ball. But, not that I'm still bitter.
Joe Burrow, who, despite injuries,
that's my dude. Come back next year.
And I don't think we've even seen the best of Joe Burrow yet.
No, next year.
And then you got Russell Wilson in there too, who, once upon a time, he was either considered elite, but at the very least, if you didn't want to put him in the elite category, he was a tier 1 guy. So it's an interesting group of quarterbacks there in the AFC North. Unfortunately for the Steelers, I don't think anybody in the AFC North is saying, uh-oh.
Unfortunately for the Steelers, Russell Wilson plays for you now.
The only reason I would say, I did bring up Mike Tomlin. If Russell Wilson can
still amazing,
can sort of get out of his own way, so to speak, with caring so much about the wrong things when it comes to what people are thinking.
Plane.
Yeah, like just always trying to put out this really good image, this really strong image. If he just gets back to the actual business of football and being a winner, if there's one guy that I think could get that out of him in an environment, a culture that could get that out of him, it would be Mike Tomlin. It would be the Steelers.
What he should do, go to Permante's, get yourself a sandwich and Lion City beer.
Yeah.
And just be a normal guy.
And don't Instagram about it, and don't try to lecture people about like the beauty of the French fries in a sandwich or a good lager.
Just talk to the local patrons there and talk about the Pirates. You don't even have to talk about the Steelers. Be like, hey, should I adopt them?
Just say, I hope we have success, and leave it at that. Just less is more, Russ. Less is more.
Let's go to a Penguins game.
Yeah. Speaking of the Penguins, it was ironic.
I saw them yesterday too.
Well, it's ironic that the Omaha hockey team gets their first weekend series. It was the same Friday when it was official that former Maverick great Jake Gensel is now a Carolina Hurricane. Very weird. Very weird to not see him in a Pittsburgh Penguins sweater. But yes, Jake Gensel, who was traded on Friday. I guess it was Thursday night, but still. Thanks, Jimmy. Good stuff.
I didn't do it. They all did it. The athletes did it. Frankie did it.
There was a lot of good stuff last night. And even this is, again, not to dismiss that, Creighton women's basketball lost in the semifinals.
Oh, we're not. They're 25-5. They're
exactly.
They're in good shape.
They're in great shape. And yesterday, in Nebraska at one point with what did the lead balloon to at one point? Was it 14 or 11? Either way, they had a solid lead against Iowa. They held Caitlin Clark to 4 first-half points. Now, she finished with 34 points. So the second half was a different story. But to keep Caitlin Clark in single digits is probably a major uphill battle, and you're asking a lot. But despite Caitlin Clark getting hot and becoming a much bigger offensive factor there in the second half, Nebraska continued to sort of withstand that. Then they regained the lead. They had at one point a 69-65 lead with 5 minutes to go. They had a chance to win the game at the end of regulation on a shot, didn't fall. They end up losing in overtime. But I saw former Nebraska volleyball coach Terry Pettit had a very lengthy.
That was my next guess.
Yeah. He was extremely complimentary of what he saw from this team. And he brought up a couple points in a social media post that I thought were interesting. And the question more than anything that he brings up that I think I'd agree with him. In fact, I do agree with him. He said he felt that their performance yesterday against Iowa was more impressive than the win in Lincoln a month ago, where they came from behind and took down the Clark Eyes. Now, he brings up the neutral site factor of it, the bigger stage, bigger attention with everybody watching. I think everybody was still watching at the game in Lincoln because they were trying to see if Caitlin Clark would break the scoring mark in that game, which she was on pace to do that until she really got shut down in the fourth. But I think he's right. I mean, this was a Nebraska team that, first of all, getting to the championship game. Now, as we've seen a lot of these brackets when it comes to conference tournaments, sometimes you need a little help around you. The fact that Ohio State got upset and Nebraska didn't have to face Ohio State in the semifinals obviously was beneficial to Nebraska. But you get into that championship game and you put it to Iowa. Now, unfortunately, Iowa, they are who they are, and they have got a generational phenomenal talent that is just so hard to account for that long of a game. But even with Iowa coming back, you almost think, okay, it was fun while it lasted. You know, they tied the game up 58-58, and you're like, all right, well, that was fun. Now, Nebraska continued to battle, continued to put themselves in a position to take the lead, had a situation, as I mentioned, at the end of the game to try to win it in regulation. It didn't happen. But you've got so many positives to draw from that, considering that was nothing like it was in Lincoln when it came to the atmosphere. We talked about how the Target Center was sold out for the women's basketball conference tournament, for the Big Ten women's conference tournament, for the first time ever in the history of that tournament. They weren't there to see Michigan State. They weren't there to see Nebraska. They weren't there to see Ohio State. They were there for not only one team, but one player. Now, yes, there were a lot of Iowa fans that were there, but there were also probably a lot of common fans in either the Minneapolis-St. Paul area that gobbled up tickets because they want to see Caitlin Clark. And they were rooting for Caitlin Clark. They were there for the show that is the Caitlin Clark show. And despite all that, Nebraska showed that they were right there with Iowa and damn near beat the Iowa Hawkeyes twice this season. So what does that mean for Nebraska? And this is something else that Terry Pettit brought up as far as what they were able to take away from that situation and in that moment yesterday of what that can do for the NCAA tournament opportunity. We mentioned Jim Flannery and that Creighton team. They kind of caught lightning in a bottle in the postseason a couple of years back when they made their Elite Eight run. And again, the bracket kind of set up to where they had some matchups that weren't as daunting as maybe others. You know, if you're Nebraska, there is a lot. If you're Amy Williams, there is a lot that you can take away from that performance yesterday, that run you had in the Big Ten tournament, being able to stack positive days on positive days to where I can't remember, honestly, Jimmy, the last time I felt, dare I say, this confident in Nebraska women's basketball going into the NCAA tournament. And that's coming off of a loss. But it was the way that that game played out and what just turned out to be a slugfest. And unfortunately, at the very end, having the best player in the country turned out to be the difference. But there was, Alexis Markowski was outstanding in this game. You look at all types of players. I mean, from freshmen to newcomers to some staples. I mean, you got a lot of these players that are going to be coming back next year too. I mean, there was so many things. Like Natalie Potts with 21 points. Really, the heart and soul of this team, Jazz Shelley, she's obviously not back next year. But you've got a lot of players that are returning that this experience is huge. But I mean, while you still have Jazz Shelley, you're going to the NCAA tournament with her. I think this team, they should be, but I think you're looking at a team that has a lot of confidence. Well, I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they could put themselves in a situation very similar to what Creighton did a couple of years ago. That was an impressive showing. So I thought what Terry Pettit brought up about that was more impressive than their win against Iowa and Lincoln. I would agree. I think for a lot of different reasons, but also if it leads to some type of a run in the NCAA tournament, then you're going to look back at yesterday and say that was a big reason why the way that they competed on that particular stage in a neutral court that was extremely Iowa heavy and Caitlin Clark heavy, much more so than it was in Lincoln. Let's go to the 42-degree hotline and say hello to Gary. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How we doing? How's the weekend for you?
Excellent. Great basketball on both sides,
Yes.
men's and women's. And Terry Pennett's remark is incredible because you got to remember, too, Nebraska played 4 straight days, and Iowa only had to play 3.
Yep.
So that's incredible performance by the women. Hopefully their heads will be up high enough and they can get some wins in the tournament. But congratulations to the women and the men for a successful basketball season to this point.
Gary, are you fully embracing because it always comes with this, I think, when it comes to men's basketball, this Nebraska men's team is the trust factor. Are you, as a 3 seed now, are you ready to fully embrace him and say, I trust Fred, I trust this team? No, we must have lost Gary. But yeah, that's, and we'll get into that a little bit later on with the Nebraska men's basketball team. But yeah, I mean, even again in defeat with the women's programs yesterday with Creighton and Nebraska, you feel good about them in the NCAA tournament. You're not worried about them in the NCAA tournament. So that's why, as we're celebrating on this Monday of what was just a fantastic sports weekend for our local teams, in a way you kind of celebrate the women's basketball seasons that are not done yet for the Creighton and Nebraska women. And heck, Jimmy, let's give it up for Omaha. Omaha got a victory on Friday. Unfortunately, they had to play South Dakota State, who is an absolute
I didn't mean
wagon.
to leave that out. They won too.
As we're talking about the women's basketball programs, Omaha, who is, and you've seen it, you've had a front row seat to it for several games at home. I mean, that has been a struggle of a season, and getting a win in a tournament in the postseason when you don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, hey, give it up for them too. So even in defeat.
And they didn't play bad Saturday.
Right.
So they
stood
toe-to-toe with
them. They
them.
hung with South Dakota State, too. It's not easy to do
that. No.
So, yeah, impressive stuff all around, though. On the men's side, a lot of good things there. Women's side, as the conference tournament's wrapped up, and they will now get ready for the NCAA tournament. The good news is you can say Creighton and Nebraska will still be going into the NCAA tournament, and they'll be going into the NCAA tournament despite losing yesterday, still with, I think, a lot of confidence knowing the type of season that they've had. And to me, that is going to be a big thing for them. We've already seen Creighton do it a few years ago, make it into the Elite Eight. Does Nebraska possibly have a run in them now, taking Iowa in 3 separate games? First one in Iowa City, close until probably the 4th, and they got away from them there. But beating Iowa and Lincoln and then almost doing it again in the Big Ten championship game, you would think that puts a little bit more pep in your step there when it comes to your confidence. When we come back, Creighton, what they did on Saturday, now locking in the number 2 seed, what their path looks like to try to get into that final at MSG. And what is the ceiling? We'll get into the overall seeding ceiling with Tim Kruger. He joins us in about 30 minutes as we continue here on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on The Crossover.
All right, let's see. So Danville Dairy Daddies. Look at that horny cow. Look at the eyes on this bad boy.
Is the cow giving the eyes?
There's something weird about that.
No, I can't say.
He is a bull. This is a dairy daddy. Oh, his name is McCreamy. Got it. Perfect.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and very warm for your Monday with a high today in Omaha of 76. Breezy winds possible up to 20 to 30 miles an hour. Very high to near critical fire danger today for eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. Tonight, skies becoming partly to mostly cloudy with lows very mild, dropping into the 40s. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center, there's an injury crash causing delays on northbound 42nd and Miranda. Also, there's disabled vehicles on the right and left shoulder of eastbound I-80 at 42nd. And traffic flow seems to be smooth sailing across the Omaha Metro. I'll keep you updated in the coming hours once traffic starts picking up. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Mario Street Tacos or steak and chorizo queso blanco enchiladas can only be found in one place. Fernando's. Great Mexican food, awesome margaritas, and a wonderful family atmosphere. Fernando's, Omaha's favorite Mexican for more than 30 years.
Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More is partnering with Food Bank for the Heartland. If you donate 5 cans of food, you get an air conditioner inspection and clean for only $55. As you turn on the AC and turn in 5 cans of food, you will help support our community by feeding families in need. Call 402-934-7003 or visit justcallburton.com.
The college basketball championship is fast approaching, and 1620 The Zone has your chance to win a local 1620 The Watch Party at Backlot Tap House in Exarban for you and your crew. Come on! Plus, we're taking 1620 The Watch Party to Las Vegas. One grand prize winner will score a flyaway to Las Vegas to stay at the Circa Resort and Casino. Join in on the madness. Don't miss your shot to enter to win now at 1620thezone.com. Powered by Circa Resort and Casino and Backlot Tap House.
Hey, Omaha dog lovers, get ready for more wags and more fun. Hound HQ, your dog's favorite spot for daycare, boarding, and top-notch grooming, is now open. At Hound HQ, there's plenty of space for a pup to sleep, play, and everything in between. Plus, our expert groomers are here to ensure your furry family member always looks fabulous. Join our pack on Facebook and Instagram at The Hound HQ, or visit our website, thehoundhq.com, and sign up your dog today. Hound HQ, more wags, more fun.
Certified Transmissions built its reputation on the job done right. It means hard work, honesty, and integrity.
And together, we ensure our customers leave satisfied and worry-free.
Certified Transmission, the job done right at the right price.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
If you're having problems in the bedroom, talking about it is the last thing you want to do. Same goes for hair loss, anxiety, or even depression. That's where HIMS comes in. Through HIMS, you don't have to talk about it. You can do something about it. Just go to hims.com/start, where you can find a variety of potential solutions for the problems men face every day and save up to 95% on generic alternatives. The entire process is 100% online, making it incredibly simple, straightforward, and above all, private. If prescribed, treatments made using clinically proven ingredients are shipped directly to your door in low-key packaging. So if you're experiencing ED, hair loss, anxiety, or problems with your general health, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com/start and do something about it. Get started today at hims.com/start. That's HIMS.com/START.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
We got some Doug thoughts on his own inbox, the Equitable Bank inbox. They take banking personally.
Sign says Lou's Tavern. I'm blanking Lou.
Lou's Tavern?
Yeah. Remember that? Fight Club.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So I think every time Doug emails, it's his own inbox.
He
can do whatever he wants.
Yes, he can.
Plus, he's our friend.
He said, if we aren't going to put Indiana State into the NCAA, then why do we have a human selection committee? Just
he's not
let
wrong.
Al. Just let AI do it then. Or Al. Al would be cool. Are there hard set rules for selecting teams? The NCAA selection process is turning into a nerd fest. I don't want to see Michigan State, Villanova, Iowa, Seton Hall, St. John's, etc. They've already had their chance. And Doug, I'm assuming Doug has heard us talk about this before too. This is where Gary and I think, are aligned when it comes to just sometimes you need to look up from the data points and the analytics and just watch with your eyes. Michigan State to me is one of the most baffling teams. I've said it for a while now that it's just bizarre to me that Michigan State can find themselves in a position to where they would lose like 2 or 3 in the row, yet their net wouldn't budge. And it wasn't like they lost to like great teams either. I mean, it's a team right now that is 18-13. They are 500 in the conference, but it feels like they're safe as kittens when it comes to their NCAA tournament prospects. They lost to Indiana, for God's sakes. Indiana. Not a great team, that Indiana team. But yet somehow Michigan State, pretty good. They're fine. Their net is good. Strength of schedule, it's all good. I mean, their best win was Baylor. And Baylor's decent. I have no problem saying Baylor's a
The
solid
school and
team.
Shireman.
But Baylor's also a 22-9 team. Yeah. So, Doug, when it does come to, I think we're in agreement when it comes to sometimes you just use your eyes and say, does that look like a tournament team? Now, when it comes to the brand bias, that's where I do think the human element does come into play, because you start thinking about, could we possibly have an NCAA tournament without Michigan State? I mean, I'd be okay with it.
Let me tell you, 4 years ago, we had an NCAA tournament without a lot of teams.
Yeah, that's true. That was a very dark time, though. I don't want to go there. I mean, it's
minus the toilet paper. I mean,
the whole.
It's all right. I mean, that's,
you didn't have to interact with a lot of people.
Didn't have to interact with people. I was in great shape because I was running outside because it was good for you. So yeah.
This is a question maybe more for you, though. What in the wide world of sports happened to KU? Are they now going to be in Omaha? Jimmy, no KU garb today?
I mean, I wasn't planning on wearing it. I just had today was what does Gary say? The Midwest outfit, the hoodie and shorts.
Yeah.
And to be honest,
I'm not going hoodie and shorts, but I got the 3/4 pullover and shorts.
Sweet quarter zip going too. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I did think about wearing a quarter zip, and like I said, even though they lost Saturday, they're women who I used to work for had a very good last month of the season, and they had a good showing at the Big 12 tournament. There are other sports, and besides, Doug, we're a football school now.
Yeah, that's
Things
true.
are looking good for us. I don't know if they're going to be in Omaha. I mean, they're a 6th seed in the Big 12. I know I said they would, but that's because usually they don't fall apart like this. So I like my bet. And now I am glad I didn't buy a bunch of tickets to sell, which was my original idea. Although if Iowa State's coming, they're going to bring a lot of fans. They're going to be a good time. Good people to hang out with.
A couple other things that Doug brings up. Says, I wonder what Tucker DeVries would have done at Creighton. Probably not as much as he did at Drake. Happy for him. Tucker DeVries and Drake and D-Rock going to the NCAA tournament, winning the Mo Valley
yesterday.
Yes, they did.
All right.
And Tucker had a hell of a game as well. He's looked great. And that kind of goes back to the whole, the first point of Doug's email of Indiana State, who's had a great season, but they don't win the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. So what is their tournament fate? And that's going to be a good question for Tim Kruger, who joins us.
If they don't like it, you should win.
In about 25 minutes. Yeah, that is true. Then he also goes and says, I wonder what Frankie Fiddler would have done at Creighton. Frankie Fiddler, and
I wonder what LeBron would have done at Creighton.
This is going to be an interesting offseason of
Michael Jordan,
Frankie Fiddler, because no longer is he like this nice kept secret. He's one of the best players, maybe in some people's opinion, the best player in the Summit League, even though he wasn't recognized as such.
Which is why he has that look like, all right,
but
I'll show you.
Yeah. And the guy's a player. The guy has a chance to, if he wants to find himself at a Power 6 school and be a major contributor. We've talked to Gary about this, and we'll bring it up again when Gary joins us after we talk with Tim Kruger. But what that thought process could be like for Frankie Fiddler, his connection to the school, the fact that he is, when all is said and done, if he does finish his career out at
Frankie
Omaha,
Fiddler Court at Baxter Arena. That's how you can sweeten the deal.
He could be the all-time leading scorer in that program's history if he comes back. So how much does all of that mean to him? How well is he being taken care of with the bull market and the NIL
Lifetime
part of it
contract
with Omaha?
Durango. Anytime he wants Durango to show up for something, done.
After a while, that'd be kind of creepy, though, right?
Not really. I mean,
I guess if you're having him show up on your terms, he's just not showing up.
Frankie's getting married, or Frankie has a bachelor party. Durango could be at both.
Whatever
Frankie wants, give it to him.
Doug's asking where my Creighton hat is today. I actually, out of all the hats I have, I have a couple of Creighton quarter zips that I've been rocking during the baseball broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a Creighton hat anymore. I used to have one of the blue ones, the old school blue ones that had the old Cincinnati C, because I love that. Yeah. The Cincinnati C is such a good look.
Oh yeah.
So maybe I might need to step up my Creighton.
I think Doug's
hat
gonna hook
game.
you up.
But what I got on today
He's a generous
is
man.
paying tribute to what was a fantastic weekend of Omaha men's basketball and hockey.
And your hat is saluting one of the great vegetables out there that I enjoy.
Con. It's saluting Con, because that is also saluting Nebraska being the number 3
But not Con.
seed.
was left there
Yeah.
marooned on a dead
Oh,
planet.
why does Doug got to go here? Fran McCaffrey is
Terrible.
horrible and hope he stays at Iowa.
But he's being positive. Hopes he stays at Iowa. He hopes he stays employed. Why does he want a man to be unemployed?
He's got other thoughts about Dan Hurley too, name
not a
calling
fan.
and whatnot. But yeah, that's all.
Did he do something this weekend?
Dan Hurley?
Yeah.
Nothing more than what he normally has done.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Yeah, Dan Hurley just rubs people the wrong way sometimes. That's how it is.
Which we discussed. You cannot do that anymore. You will get canceled.
Yeah.
You can't rub anybody
Well, if we're going to get in the literal term, sure.
unless you're being paid for it. No.
Getting back to Creighton again. First of all, we got to acknowledge the game that they played against Villanova. We were talking about this on Friday, Jimmy. Of what did Kyle Neptune do to his team by labeling that game as a Super Bowl? And honestly, I didn't think it was going to make them tight or all of a sudden put any extra pressure on them without knowing, hey, if you want to be on the good side of the bubble, if you want to be an NCAA tournament team, this is the game you have to get. And early on, it didn't look good for Villanova. I mean, it didn't look good at all. There was a moment in
Jays
that
looked
game.
good in the baby blue, though.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I'm a big baby blue fan. You
Same.
guys were.
Not just because I look good in it.
Everybody's talking about the hue of it. It's like a different kind of like baby blue hue. I think it looked great, but anyway,
I like it. That's all I care about. I'm not going to get Pantone 134. I'm like, no, who cares? Put your Crayola box away. It looks nice.
Well, and in Villanova's guys, which they weren't going to take that game laying down, they just fired back in the second half. And oddly enough, it was their two main contributors here in the last couple of years, and Eric Dixon and Justin Moore had great games, and being able to withstand that for Creighton.
But the Jays stuck it out,
and then having the Trey Alexander follow-away shot there to secure Creighton's victory.
Tell you,
not
like
let that thing. And that game going into overtime would really have scared me.
Yeah, I mean they position themselves well for the tournament, not just in seed, but how they're playing.
Well, and
I know they almost blew the game. I'm not trying to sugarcoat
and
it.
they did, Jimmy. But there was a moment where I thought, this isn't good. And there are moments, previous games early in the season where they probably would have.
Yeah.
No, I think there is a toughness with this team.
That's what I was getting.
That despite the offense that we know is there, despite the ridiculous consistency that you see from Baylor Shireman. I mean, I say ridiculous because the guy is, I mean, you know what you're going to get. If you get anything less than 14 points, it's a shocker, but he's not going to give you a 40-point night. Like, he's just so reliable. He is a stud. And you have all of that. The one thing that I think people would wonder about Creighton during a stretch of the season is, do they sort of have that toughness mentality when a team sort of takes the game to them and wants to bully them around as much as they can Creighton punch back? And we go back to that UConn game when they played that one on the road. UConn wasn't playing much better offensively, but they were able to bully Creighton around. We saw, Butler was able to do that in a game where, again, inside, kind of bullying Kalkbrenner around, taking it to him. Just different moments of the season where you're wondering, can Creighton sort of muscle back up, punch back? And I think really this last 3-week stretch of basketball where you've seen them win in different ways, the one constant has been there is a toughness about this Creighton team. Yeah, you can't overlook the fact that they did almost blow that lead to the point that they would have looked at Villanova winning that game. But
they
had
found
the
a way
answer.
to hold on and win.
They did.
It's a tough win.
They had the answer. So
you don't come away overconfident. You're like, all right, we got some work to do, but we're capable of building a big lead like that.
Yeah.
But all right, let's get ready to go to New York. See what
I
happens.
agree. I think
They're
that
in
was
good shape.
I think that was a great win for them.
Everybody's in good shape. We're in good shape.
They lock up the number 2 seed. So their path, they will take on the winner of Georgetown Providence. They'll play Providence.
Come on, give Ed Cooley some credit.
Watch. Well, are we gonna get like the Patrick Ewing run? Remember after the COVID year?
That's right.
And they go all of a sudden rattle them all off. I don't know, man. This
we like
Georgetown team doesn't have
Ed
that.
Cooley.
I like Ed Cooley,
Get him a
but
win.
I think they're maybe a year or two away from doing that. Marquette on the other side of that bracket. So Creighton will take on the winner of Georgetown Providence. That game will be on Thursday at approximately 6 o'clock. We'll have for you right here on 1620 Zone. And then you will have the winner of Marquette, who will take on the winner of DePaul Villanova. They'll follow Creighton. That semifinal game would be right around 7 o'clock on Friday. So that's their side of the bracket. Georgetown, Providence, DePaul, Villanova, Creighton,
Said
Marquette.
7 on Friday?
Yep.
All right. 7
on Friday. And then the Big East Championship game will tip off at 5:30 on Saturday. So I like that side of the bracket, honestly, for Creighton. And as we have continued to do, to look at what type of availability will Marquette have in Tyler Kolek. Didn't play in their regular season finale. Thought that would be the case. Shaka Smart over the last week has made it sound that it's very promising that Tyler Kolek would be back for postseason, but he continues to emphasize postseason. Hasn't necessarily gone in on whether that means conference tournament or NCAA tournament.
I think it's wait and see.
Yeah.
And
I think
being smart.
this is a
Don't
big
rush
week.
him back. I mean, look, if you're, and I get it. Jimmy disagreed with me on Saturday, but I get what he was getting at, saying that it for Creighton, for example, well, he said they'd be nice that this group has never won a Big East tournament. But I'm always of the thinking, if you're not on the bubble, I mean, you go out there and play and hope to see good things happen. And if you win it, great. But if you were to lose the first game and you're seeding, everything's already done, I don't see any problem with that. And I know that sounds weird. What, you're okay losing? Hey, I'll be honest, and maybe it's my NBA point of view. I could give two, what's about conference tournament. It's about those 6 games afterwards, and that's all that matters. You could lose the first damn game in New York City and win the national championship, and no one's going to give a rat's ass what you did in the conference tournament. Same thing when someone wins a conference tournament and then loses in the second round or the Sweet 16. Nobody gives a rat's ass that you won a conference tournament because who won the whole thing? So stay healthy, be playing your best basketball. And again, it's 7:46. We're still being super positive. I like their chances. It's all. I mean, I get it's all about matchups, but yeah, it's a fun month of March.
This week is going to be, I think, a week that we'll be kind of dialing in to see if Tyler Kolek will play. But that would be your likely semifinal matchup if both teams take care of business, and we will find out if that is the case.
I hope he's all right.
Sure,
he's
absolutely.
a hell of a player. I like watching him, and the thing is, you want to beat teams, you want to beat them at their best anyway. So it's like, all right, take them. We're good enough to beat them anyway. We have good players too.
100%.
I say we because they would say, I'm not saying we. Like, I want people thinking, oh, you've really gone all in. You're working for them. No, they don't pay me anything. I've asked to get a picture with Billy. I can't even get that.
When we come back, again, we're going to talk to Tim Kruger. Stadium, he's got his bracket out, and this is the final one before we get the official one. So we look forward to that with TK. He joins us in about 15 minutes. Also going to be talking to Jacob Bigelow and Amy Just in the 9 o'clock hour. But when we return, the significance of what Omaha hockey did against North Dakota and what happened around them as well.
Flex. Look at him flex.
Absolutely. It was fantastic. And we will talk about that before we get to Tim here on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Start your engines.
Joe's Indoor Karting in Council Bluffs is off the charts crazy. Joe's Karting is fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing action at over 40 miles per hour. The only speed restriction on these karts is how good you are. Joe's Karting is located just a couple of blocks north of Bass Pro Shop and directly east of AMC Theater in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Go watch a movie. Come race at Joe's. Planning a bachelor party, graduation party, or just a night out with friends? Go to Joe's. Remember, Joe's Karting is your place to race.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. We're in the middle of the best time of the year of basketball season, with meaningful games every night, with 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. The games have never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout, 162nd and Maple.
Where to watch college basketball just got easier. 72 Table and Tap is offering $2 Coors drafts with a purchase of a Coors Cup. Paired with one of the biggest TVs in Ralston is a slam dunk. 72 Table and Tap is just south of Ralston Arena, so stop in before the concert or come watch the tournament. Indulge in some smoked wings, a goldfish breaded pork tenderloin, tasty bar food, pizzas, and sandwiches. There's a reason customers keep coming back. 72 Table and Tap. Eat, drink, gather, and repeat.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but new Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with new Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
If we've learned anything from the headlines, it's that unexpected things happen too often. Those in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better, and your gut knows that time is short to prepare for what's around the corner next. My Patriot Supply has helped over 2 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200 plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar-powered generators, water filtration units, emergency medical supplies, and heirloom seeds. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
The back seat. Check the back seat. All right, come here. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the back seat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
So we continue our euphoric Monday of what was just a great sports weekend, especially for our men's teams. Nebraska men, they win yesterday on the road, and they get the number 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament. You go back to Saturday, Creighton defeats Villanova, holds off Villanova. Trey does a Trey thing and gets the fadeaway to secure the victory for the Jays. They win, and they get themselves the number 2 seed in the Big East tournament. Last night, it was Frankie Fiddler beating the clock to send the Omaha men's basketball team into the Summit League semifinal tonight against Denver at 8:30. But over the weekend, history was made at Baxter Arena for the Omaha hockey team as they took not one but two, a 2-game sweep over North Dakota for the first time in program history. It was the number 3 ranked and 4 ranked, depending on which poll you're looking at, North Dakota Fighting Hawks, a team that was in the top 4 in the pairwise, which is essentially college hockey's RPI. Omaha, which came in and ranked number 16 and was right about at that number with the pairwise. Obviously, with senior night on Saturday, with what was, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm not having recency bias, was collectively between Friday and Saturday the best environments that I have seen at Baxter Arena in that building for that hockey team.
I was there.
It was unreal. You were there Friday, absolutely, and then Saturday was awesome. A great salute to the seniors and the grad students that were playing their last home game. Now, the only downside was you needed to do what you did this weekend, and then you needed Denver to sweep Colorado College for Omaha to have home ice for the NCHC first round playoffs. Colorado College won on Friday, so you knew going into Saturday that Omaha had no chance of hosting the first round of the NCHC playoffs. Didn't matter. They still win that one. What is also extremely impressive for this hockey squad between Mike Gabinet, his coaching staff, Dave Noel Bernier, Bennett Hambrook, Peter Aubry, and then that entire team, you had the flu running through that group all week. Simon Latkozy, who got the started goal Friday night, who was outstanding. All of a sudden you find out Saturday he can't play because he's ill. You had a couple other major contributors throughout the week. You had IVs flowing through these guys throughout the week. Not sure if they're going to be able to play. And that was some of the most high-energy hockey for 6 periods in a 24-hour span that I have seen this program put out, considering that they were not healthy and playing one of the most talented teams in all of college hockey. Well freaking done, Omaha hockey. That was so impressive. And Jimmy, remember, and Gary and I were having this conversation after that Denver series of, is this program stuck? Are they, where are they going? You are a proclaimed hockey school. That's where the money is in. So you've got to start expecting a better result. Since that really bad series against Denver that they had at home, this team has looked different. This team has played high-level hockey. They have been solid. You've had now sweeps against, the traditional sweep against North Dakota this last weekend. They swept Miami on the road, but also Colorado College, who they play in the NCHC playoffs in Colorado Springs this weekend. They had sort of the non-traditional sweep, meaning they won on Friday, and then they beat them in a shootout. That would be fine if they could do that this weekend as well. But they have played some big boy hockey. Credit to Mike Gabinet, credit to this coaching staff, these players. We've seen the second half swoon for this hockey program that dates back to, even the end of the Mike Kemp era, going into the Dean Blaze era and Mike Gabinet, where you've had a weekend or two where you had a chance to maybe take a big step forward in the pairwise or seize momentum, and then all of a sudden you trip up somewhere. Maybe it's on the road against Miami. Maybe it's on the road when CC was struggling, or maybe a home series against a team. Whatever the case is, it was always kind of in the DNA of this program. This team didn't do that. This team finished so strong, and we'll see, because they made history this weekend. They can make history again for the program if they can get out of the first round of the NCHC playoffs this week, and they have yet to play in the Frozen Face-Off, which is the Final Four of the conference tournament. And this is the last year they're going to be doing this up in Minneapolis before it just goes to strictly campus sites. So wouldn't that be cool to finally get it done here as they move away from having the Frozen Face-Off in Minneapolis? They might actually be doing it one more year. I think they're doing it 2 more years before they phase that out and they do just strictly campus sites. But either way, great opportunity for them to recapture history like they did this last weekend. Now, the other part that was great about this weekend is we started looking at their opportunity to be an at-large in the NCAA tournament. You only get 16 teams in the college hockey NCAA tournament.
Like the good old days in basketball.
Yeah, that's right. The pairwise number is one you hear about a lot. So Omaha's sweep of North Dakota, which was huge, but also coupled with UMass losing to Maine, pushed Omaha up to a tie for number 11 in the pairwise. And again, if you're sitting at 11, maybe 12th at the very least, there's a good shot you're in. You don't want to get beyond 12. And 12 sometimes can be maybe not high enough, but they are tied at number 11 in the pairwise, and guess who they're tied with? The team they played this weekend, Colorado College, up in Colorado Springs. So it was a huge weekend. They are in a good position in the pairwise right now. People have been asking me, okay, what do you think they need to do to not have to win the entire conference tournament, but make it in?
Just win.
You can't get swept this weekend. You at least have to have one win against Colorado College, and I still think you might need the series victory, because you can't rely on all these things around you to happen.
I like mine. Just win.
I agree. If they win, if they win the series, they are playing as hot as anybody right now in that conference. If they win the series, again, you check off another box in the history column of things that this program has not accomplished. They just did one this last weekend by sweeping North Dakota on the home ice, and you would have a chance to get out of that first round and play in the Frozen face-off, that would be amazing. And it almost feels very fitting for this team that over the last month has been as hot as anybody in college hockey.
It's just like Adrian told Rocky, win.
Just
I
win.
also like to give a shout out to those people that bang on the trash
The Red
cans.
Army.
Love them.
The Red Army.
They remind me of the people in Oakland that bang on those drums in the
Yep.
outfield. I was like, don't stop. No, keep banging. The
It
louder
was
the better.
They and so many others that, go to every game that are a big part of that environment, big part of that atmosphere.
I want to go to more games.
They're always appreciated, but you mentioned those guys too, getting, sometimes you get some newcomers there, or you get, some of the casual fans that make a few games every year. Everybody who was a part of it, including you, Jimmy, everybody who was a part of it this weekend, well done, because that energy, it was palpable. You could feel that. It was cool. It was fun to be a part of it.
It's terrific.
Yeah, that was neat. All right, when we come back, Tim Kruger will join us in studios. We will get a look at his final bracket before we get the official bracket in 1 week. And a lot of questions with Creighton, with Nebraska, some Big East teams on the bubble, some Big Ten teams on the bubble, and more. TK joins us right after this.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. The crash on northbound 42nd and Miranda is cleared. However, we got a new crash reported on Northwest Radio Highway and 54th. There's also reported disabled vehicles on the left and right shoulder of eastbound I-80 at 42nd, and traffic flow should be smooth sailing across the Omaha Metro for your morning commute. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery is back. Up until April 2nd, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter to be one of 14 weekly winners of $5,000 or $500. Details at nelottery.com. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, offers exterior solutions that help you protect your number one investment. Whether it's roofing and siding or windows and doors, they're committed to excellence, quality, and outstanding customer service in every step of the process. When it's time to protect the exterior of your home, your choice is simple. Turn to who the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Check them out online and schedule a free estimate today. J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
Riding season is here, and it's time to trade in and trade up. Or, if you ain't riding it, Luss Hills Harley-Davidson is buying it. Sell your Harley-Davidson today. Luss Hills Harley-Davidson. Rise up and ride on.
Are you a delivery driver looking for a better job opportunity? Host Coffee is a local family-owned coffee, water, and vending company that has been in business since 1972. We are growing, and we now have openings for delivery drivers and other positions starting at $22 an hour with full benefits. If you're interested, visit hostcoffee.net/careers to connect with us.
Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Velocity Clinical Research in Omaha frequently conducts clinical trials for a broad range of investigational treatments. Typical studies involve medications for acne, allergies, chronic diseases, depression, and others. They also perform vaccine studies for people of all ages, conducting innovative research that has a positive impact on lives. Click for current trials at velocityclinicaltrials.com. More trials are launching in March. Compensation for study-related time and travel. Find out more at velocityclinicaltrials.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
No, it is. We mentioned it's just it's a positive vibe Monday here on Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy. Gary, by the way, going to be joining us here in about 20 minutes as he is probably waking up on the ultimate high after what happened last night with the Omaha men's basketball team. They win on a buzzer beater by Frankie Fiddler. They'll play Denver tonight. You can catch that game on 1290 Coil. That is the Summit League semifinals. If they win tonight, they would take on the winner of South Dakota State in St. Thomas. That is on the other side of the semifinals, and that would be tomorrow. Now, we got to get there first, but a week from today, too, we will have our official bracket. And our guy, Tim Kruger of Stadium, joining us here in studio on Twitter at TK Brackets. It's real now. Okay, so I misspoke. I said this is our final one. You still will have another one released later this week, right?
Right. It'll update all the larges, or excuse me, the automatics that qualify here throughout the week. And then usually this is a week where I'll do a lot of scrubbing. So I'll go down through and gosh, yeah. I just like to say Doug's an interesting character because he like we're having a great season and he's worried about two, mid-majors that aren't on Creighton's team. What's that?
It's this season.
I forgot you two go back and forth.
Oh, we go a long way back, man.
Well, and that one is interesting though, Indiana State, because Drake wins. They get obviously the automatic qualifier out of the Missouri Valley Conference. Indiana State, I mean, record-wise, it's impressive. What type of conversation is being had, in your opinion, about them?
Well, when I broke it all down, tried to get some teams that I think are totally out now, like UNLV and Utah. They're done. They actually turned out on my bracket better than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see a scenario they get in. The problem is, I think Seth Davis mentioned yesterday on CBS, they've only got the one high quality win in the one quad one win. So that's really something. And they played, so many games out of it. Drake always was the one who had the better resume.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I remember a lot of conversation of if Drake could get to the championship game, they could make it sort of a tougher conversation for that very reason. Right.
Had they beat the only thing I can say is when you're going to lump these teams in, you're seeing some teams in that bubble right now that just didn't play anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And at least Indiana State went out and played at Alabama, at Michigan State. They at least went out and tried to play somebody.
Yeah.
They got the win over Drake, one win over Drake. They got the one win over Bradley. But that's it. And then they had the bad loss about 2-3 weeks ago to Illinois State in quad 4. That might have clinched it where they won't get in. The other interesting team would be James Madison. Now App State lost in their conference, so that eliminates one team. So now they're actually the automatic qualifier, so they're really not in the at-large pool. They still could get in the at-large pool. That will be an interesting discussion because of the number of wins they have.
All right, so Nebraska draws the number 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They win on the road yesterday. They are able to add that to the resume. And for the first time in a while, I feel like we're talking about Nebraska not in Omaha. And that's actually a good thing because that means they moved up a seed line.
Good thing. Bad thing is they're moving into the 8-9 and but the whole deal is about getting a win, right? That's the whole thing. I haven't paired up against Texas as a 9 seed, so that's not exactly a great draw.
Right.
But yeah, and Nebraska keeps winning, like we said that they had to do. Got another road win, but the teams around them just aren't performing very well. I mean, you get to the 9s and you're like, well, wait a minute. All these teams have to at least be 11s, if not out of the field. But you got to fill the field with some teams. And when you start looking, Nebraska's, got the high quality wins. They have the better resume. However, I can still, I don't know what the committee's going to do with these non-conference strength of schedules. I read an article from the committee chair about the article's about 2 weeks old, and they asked him about the Big 12 gaming the system.
Yeah,
and he said, "Well, I don't think they're gaming the system," but he goes, he gave Iowa State as an example. He goes, "When you watch them play Houston, even though they had a bad non-conference schedule, you can clearly see they're one of the better teams in the country."
Mm-hmm.
Now, and then he gave the example. He didn't use a team, but he gave the example. Now, a team that's 500 in the Big 12 and doesn't beat the top teams, we're probably going to discredit a lot of those non-conference wins they had. First team I thought of was Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I went back to their resume, and they fit that perfectly, along with TCU. TCU and Oklahoma play each other in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. So often it doesn't work this way. They don't look at those games as playing games. They'll put the loser in and the winner will be out, and you never understand it. But I just got to believe that the loser of that games could be in some real trouble. Now, I do think because you've got a team like New Mexico, I've got them in the last 4 and they've lost a couple now, but everybody else is losing.
Yeah.
And their resume still looks a slight bit better. I had one team, I had to fill the bracket, right? And I went with Colorado, even though their resume is horrible.
Yeah.
But their computer numbers are great. That's going to be the test. It's a very small sample size, but no team has made the field if they've had a 32 or better net so far. Now, real small sample size because we haven't had the net very long.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got a number of teams that are down there. Michigan State, I think the differentiator there will be that Michigan State has a really good strength of schedule compared to, say, like if they're going to compare teams with that 18, there's so many 18 and 13 records now.
Mm-hmm.
They have a better record than the rest of them. Or excuse me, a better resume than the rest of them. They have a better non-conference strength of schedule. So I think in the end, they would, if they're 18 and 14, they would be the one out. I would say this, there's been hardly, in the history of the NCAA tournament, there's been very few 18 and 14s, a lot of 19 and 14.
Yeah.
So I think that one more win is going to be really important. I was confusing. I thought I saw, I Googled it, the first bracket that came up, Iowa was playing Minnesota, but now that's not true. Michigan State is
right. In the Big Ten tournament,
Michigan State's playing Minnesota now.
Right.
Right. The first one I saw was Iowa, and I thought, oh my God, this is a great pass.
Yeah, Iowa's got Ohio State. Yeah, Michigan State has Minnesota.
See, I got Ohio. People are sleeping. Ohio State's resume is pretty damn good.
And yeah, in over the last month, and kind of interesting enough, when they parted ways with Holtman, they've played better. They've actually had some decent wins here down the stretch too. That I was curious about. Iowa and Ohio State. Actually, it's kind of funny that those two teams play each other because I think those are teams out of the Big Ten that you're wondering what do they have to do short of actually winning it at all.
Yeah, and that's
Minnesota
again probably a play-in game, not a play-in game, a play-out game there.
Mm-hmm.
I would think Iowa would have to win 2 more.
Okay.
The thing for them is if they win, they face Illinois. You just don't want to play that team that you just beat a week later. So that's kind of, to me, even though they got beat, quote unquote, handily yesterday, I think it's a good matchup for them, a good chance. Because then you're beating a very high quality net team. So I think if they beat Iowa, Ohio State, and beat Illinois, I'm going on Iowa radio tonight, so got to get ready for it. I think you've got a real shot. That's the one. And that's the one team I look out there. When you're looking ahead to what they have to do. That's like the clearest path. Iowa. A&M has a kind of a similar path too. They're sitting at 17 and 13. So they're again just played Ole Miss. They're playing Ole Miss for SEC. It's dangerous. So they lose that, then they're definitely out because no team's going to make it at 17 and 14. And I'll let you go.
Well, I was going to say, so if I'm hearing you right on Nebraska, that strength of schedule, especially the non-conference part of it, as you kind of look at them stacked with the nines, you got Colorado State, Mississippi State, Florida Atlantic, and then Nebraska. that could be the one thing that could still kind of keep them in the 10 seed, depending on how the committee reacts to the non-conference schedule. Does their game on Friday, regardless of who they play, do you think that has any bearing on where they're seated right now, other than what we just discussed, and that is that non-conference strength of schedule?
Probably not, because the teams I have below them, and I'm not the committee, everyone, okay? Got to keep telling coaches that. They think I'm no guy who picks them. What, you only have us 11th overall? The teams below them, Seton Hall, Virginia, Oklahoma, Michigan State, all have their awards.
Yeah.
They're all pretty much all in playing games. Virginia was in my last 4 out forever, and now they bumped up just because they won a game and everybody else is losing.
Yeah.
Oddly, my last 4, the most solid team that I don't think matters what happens is St. John's.
Wow.
They play Seton Hall, and they'll end up, if they lose that, they'll be 19-13. I think they've got enough to be in. They might not be as high up on the last 4 in as I have them now, but I think they're going to be in.
Really?
Because when you look at the teams that are sitting the first 4 out, you've got the Iowas of the world. You're looking at Indiana State, A&M, and then Wake Forest. Suddenly, their resume is starting to look better when you lump it in with the teams that are there. A couple weeks ago,
I thought they were done after Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and I did too. I had them way off my board, but when you start looking now that some of these other teams have dropped out, you start looking at their resume like, wow, it's no worse than Colorado. It's probably actually better. But Colorado just has exceptional computer numbers. So generally speaking, that's going to win the day. So I think, and they've got a nice path too. They will probably play Utah in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be probably a Q1 win for them or close to it. And then they've got a chance to play Washington State after that. So they could accumulate some big time wins, which would really help them out.
Creighton as a 3 seed right now. You got them in Pittsburgh. We're looking at all of the 3 seeds too. Marquette, Kansas, Creighton, Duke. Is that the ceiling? If they were to run the table in the Big East tournament, is that the ceiling for Creighton?
That's it, because as we have seen over the years, they don't really value those tournament runs. Now, the good thing, Big East ends on Saturday, so it's a little easier.
And you're likely probably having to go through UConn in that championship game.
I think there's something at play here, though, with Creighton, and that's Marquette. Like, if we go into that tournament and either they lose the first game, which they're going to play Villanova, so that's not going to be an easy game for Marquette. But if they go into it without Kolek, then I think the committee's got to wonder. I mean, they'll call up Marquette and say, what's the deal here? Is he going to play or not?
Yeah.
They may shove them down a little bit. Kolek doesn't play, and especially if they go out right away.
Right.
Because then they're saying, wow,
this is how you look.
We don't know how.
Yep.
What if he's not 100% in the NCAA tournament, and this is the team they have? This is a team that shows that like they're not going to be competitive with the top 2 in the Big East. So that would be a big help to Creighton, because that would move. Let's say Marquette would fall back behind them. Now Indianapolis comes in play for Creighton.
Oh,
so that
would be all right.
That's a sweeter sight.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. I don't think they can get to 2, because right now you're looking at Iowa State, Tennessee. I moved up Iowa State to the 2, by the way. So I finally dropped Kansas, and I want to speak to Kansas a second, but Iowa State, Baylor, Arizona, Tennessee. That's when you look at those resumes, Creighton can't beat those 4 resumes.
I know, so you have Drake right there next to him too. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
Drake and Creighton.
Yeah. But Kansas, everybody keeps it high. No one else has Kansas as high as you. And everybody's going by recent bias, okay? And you've got to understand that the committee is going to look at all 30 games.
Yeah.
All right. They're not going to look at just last week or the week before. They're not looking at the 30-point blowout. Yeah. It's clear that Houston's a better team.
Does the Dickinson injury, if that's not favorable, does that
I would
put
think,
that into question?
Think so,
and again, McCullough is in the lineup, out the lineup.
Right.
You know?
They just yanked him Saturday because they were so far behind. I think it was just more of a precautionary thing. But I still think they've got They got 5 top 25 wins still. I mean, that's better than anybody around them has. Better than Iowa State has.
Yeah.
It's better than Baylor has. So much better than Marquette and Creighton and certainly Duke. So I think in the end they're still going to be a 3 seed, especially if they win some games. Now, right, if Dickinson, let's say, doesn't play and they lose the first game in the Big 12, then they're going to probably fall to a 4, and then we've got to find out, well, who I would guess the easy move there would be Kentucky. But some of those other teams like Auburn has a horrible on their resume. They're number 8 in the net, and I don't know how they're doing it, but their resume is not very good. They have one quad 1 win.
Yeah. And in Omaha, you do have, so you mentioned Kansas, so you still have them in there with Morehead State, and then it's Utah State, St. John's, and Colorado, the winner of that play-in game. And then it's been pretty consistent, Iowa State there as a 2 seed, South Dakota State, assuming that they win the Summit League tournaments, Nevada, Seton Hall. So if Omaha were to win the Summit League tournament, I mean, they're going to be a 16. They would not be in Omaha.
Be a 16. No, they would not be in Omaha.
Because that was always the hope is that you could get that.
The only possibility would be if Kansas fell to – no, they still wouldn't be in Omaha. Yeah, no. Yeah, they won't be in Omaha. Thank God the ticket availability is already stressed.
That would add to it.
That would be over the top.
Oh, yeah. You'd have people that would come out of the woodwork. People who have not even probably set foot into Baxter Arena to watch that men's basketball team play. They would try to make it their point to be there.
Yeah, and the Creighton fans who get first dibs probably wouldn't sell them then. They'd want to go see Omaha. So.
You got Iowa State, South Dakota State too. The TJ Otzelberger story there is
lots.
I like that you do look at the storylines too, because we do know there's an element to that when it does come to the selection show as well, or to the selection process.
People think I pick them. I don't. I did not even know Drake was in the pod until you mentioned it just right now. I don't look.
I see. There you go.
But
cutting right through
it. Speaking of former MAC assistants, man, heartbreaker for Al Husson, High Point. It's such a great year. They're up 15 at home, and they end up losing in overtime, which obviously kicked them out. And obviously, the way the NIT is now, they don't get a shot to go into the NIT, which is criminal. But what a great year for Al.
Yeah, definitely. And
and then Patrick Sellers got beat too.
Oh yeah,
so he had a chance of having like 5-6 assistants. In the NCAA tournament.
That
now
coaching
it's dwindling down.
It is, but you got
pretty D-Rock and TJ in there now.
Yep. Before I let you go too, so if we're kind of looking at some of the teams that you're probably most curious about when it comes to the bubble, whether we're talking about and based on what you're saying, you feel pretty good about the last 4 in the way they are right now: Colorado, New Mexico, St. John's, TCU. We mentioned Wake Forest, maybe kind of starting to reemerge a little bit. What about Villanova? And I know that was
glad you brought them up.
Major missed opportunity.
Here's the
but
deal with Villanova. They're getting, forget their resume, forget their net, forget all that. They're getting into a danger zone now. They've got 14 losses.
Yep.
There's only been one team ever to get in with 15, and that was Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt, if I remember correctly, had the number 1 or number 2 overall strength of schedule. They played like 14 games in Q1. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Villanova doesn't have that. Very good strength of schedule, like in the 20s or 30s, but not number 1. And they have those 3 bad losses.
Yeah.
That's killing them. They would have to get to the finals of the Big East tournament. That would put them at 20-15. Then I could see a real look at them to get in the field, because like you said, I feel good. I don't feel good about any of those teams other than St. John's.
Yeah.
I know.
I guess you said Colorado's
Colorado's in there
the computer loves
they're
them.
The only,
the computer numbers look good.
Left over.
Right.
New Mexico probably shouldn't be in at this point, but they're still staying. There's something in the back of my head that says one of those teams, Oklahoma or TCU, is going to get left out, and the whole world's going to go crazy, and they're going to say they played nobody in the non-conference.
Yeah.
And they didn't win enough games in their, Oklahoma's underwater in their conference.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, if Villanova does make a run, then I could see them getting a bump. But, you've got there's a lot of things going on in the conference tournament. This has been the toughest last 4 I've seen in years to figure out. But you got all those other teams stacked ahead of Villanova now that have chances, like Iowa and A&M and Wake. And then you still got the wild card Indiana State out there, although I don't think they're going to make it.
They always talk about, is it a strong bubble year or a weak bubble year?
And I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Maybe no more as we get into the week.
It's weak because the teams that are 10 seeds normally would be on the bubble, but or be 11 seeds. But it has a lot of depth right now going into the tournament. I'll say that, into the conference tournaments. There's a lot of teams and a lot of teams that are being overlooked, like Ohio State, that have a pretty darn good resume. They're just sitting down in the net, but they're not in the 78, I want to say, is the worst net ever to get in. So they're not even close to that. So they get in Kansas. Same way with Kansas State's another one, but they're in the danger zone too with those losses. So the problem with Kansas State is they've beat nobody away from home. Zero. So that's going to kill them.
So this one will be out later today.
Yes.
And then we've got another one before the official bracket.
There'll be one out on Friday.
Okay.
And then on Sunday, we've got a little issue because the AAC plays late.
Of course they do.
Yeah. Why this comes down to them every year. Why don't we move that game? And nobody's watching that game for interest. They're just watching to see who is going to be your representative.
Yeah.
It's not like, So I think what my plan is, because there's obviously a real time stretch to get it into the stadium, get them to pop it into our regular bracket and move on. So what I'll probably do is just take the one I send you every morning. I'm going to just take a picture of that, put it on Twitter, so then everybody will have it.
All right.
If they want to see a seed list, whatever, because that'll be the quickest way. I'll have it all done. I'll just be waiting on the outcome of that game, because it's probably going to be, let's just say if South Florida and Florida Atlantic get to the finals, which is probably the thing we'd like to see the most, as far as the bracketologist goes, South Florida is still not going to get an at-large. So you kind of got to wait. See that, and plus that could be another bid. Could open up in the bottom.
Yeah.
So that last team, that first team out, is going to be watching that game carefully, because they could get in. So there's so many possibilities with the bubble going into the conference tournaments. It's crazy.
Got 11 to home stretch now too. We are in the home stretch. On Twitter at TK Brackets, Tim Kruger of Stadium. He'll have the one out that we were just discussing a little bit later on today, and then you'll get another one on Friday. And then we get it. Then it's happening, and we'll be discussing that bracket.
I hope I don't have any plane problems if I have to stay in New York till Sunday. I'm scheduled to be back here at 1:00. Gives me plenty of time. I should have it all done by then anyway. But let's keep fingers crossed.
Are you joining us on the phone on Monday, or are you going to come back in?
I will be here. Well, I'll be here. I'll be back Sunday.
So that's right.
I will be here in person, man. I'm going to be adding up those brackets, see how terrible or good I did.
When are you leaving for New York?
Wednesday.
All right.
Early Wednesday.
All right.
We're gonna go. By the way, go to our YouTube on Blue Jay Banner. We're gonna have so much product teaming up with the Let It Fly group, and
nice.
We're gonna kind of go just stroll around New York on Wednesday and find Jay's fans and talk to them. So everybody likes seeing themselves on YouTube.
Of course, that's what we do now in 2024. Tim, good stuff as always, man. Appreciate it. Safe travels.
All right, man. Thanks.
When we come back, we will be joined by Gary Sharp. We'll get, first of all, find out if he has calmed down from last night after an exciting finish to the Omaha men's quarterfinal Summit League tournament game. We'll get his thoughts on that and what was a awesome weekend, especially for men's sports locally here in the state of Nebraska. Sharpie joins us right after this.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The Connor Happer Show.
Andy Reid was talking in one of his interviews about how Taylor Swift made the team homemade Pop-Tarts.
What if she releases it in a song?
It's just called Pop-Tart.
1/4 cup of sugar. Almond extract brings out the flavor.
$4.50, 20 minutes.
Put a toothpick in it, put a toothpick in it. If it comes out clean, it's yours.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and very warm for your Monday with a high today in Omaha of 76. Breezy winds possible up to 20 to 30 miles an hour. Very high to near critical fire danger today for eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. Tonight, skies becoming partly to mostly cloudy with lows very mild, dropping into the 40s. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. No accidents to report in the Omaha Metro. There's a disabled vehicle on the right shoulder of eastbound I-80 at 80th. Start expecting slower traffic on northbound JFK from L to the I-80, I-480 interchange. Also slow goings on westbound Dodge from I-480 to 90th and on eastbound Dodge from I-680 to 72nd. One last thing, there's construction on northbound 72nd from L to J, so expect slower traffic from Q to I-80. Remember to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Sol's Jewelry and Loan.
So with Sol's Jewelry and Loan dealing with designer bags, what is another option that our clients have if they don't want to actually sell their item?
If you're looking to borrow some money, you don't necessarily want to get rid of it. We can hold on to it for safekeeping until you're ready to come pick it back up.
DJ's Dugout Sports Bar is proud to support Creighton Blue Jay Athletics. DJ's Dugout salutes all the student athletes and fans that have helped Creighton Athletics towards the success it is today. Visit DJ's 7 metro area locations for delicious food, huge media walls, and all of the sports action you're looking for. Try DJ's new, fresh, never frozen Angus beef burgers from Greater Omaha Packing. DJ's Dugout, dig in at the dugout, and go Jays.
It's Champions replacement window season, and we're celebrating with buy 2 windows, get 2 free. If your windows are drafty, difficult to operate, or costing you money on your energy bill, it's time to replace them. Champion Windows is here to help. Champion builds our own windows right here in the USA. We make the process easy. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding, now 30% off. Don't wait, this sale won't last long. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and 30% off sunrooms and siding. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
Not too long ago, I heard Jensen Tire and Auto guarantees if you find a tire they carry advertised by a local competitor at a lower price, they'll match it. I'm always looking for a great deal, so I thought I'd see for myself. Try as I might, I couldn't find a better price than at Jensen. So I bought my tires there. And guess what? They had the tires I wanted at the right price, and they had me in and out in no time. Sure, I'll always be on the lookout for a great deal. And if I happen to find one, I'm bringing it to Jensen because I know they'll match it. Plus, I'll get their amazing customer service.
Hi, I'm Matt Jensen, president of Jensen Tire and Auto, inviting you to experience the difference at our locally owned and family-owned company. Check us out at jensentireandauto.com today.
Get ready for warm weather driving with early spring tire deals at Jensen. Save up to $200 on Goodyear, Cooper, General, Continental, Maxxis, and Kelly tires. Check out Jensen's early spring tire deals at jensentireandauto.com today.
Don't let power outages disrupt your life. Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More is here to help ensure your home stays powered no matter what. Introducing the ultimate solution for uninterrupted power, the Generac Whole Home Generator. From keeping your lights on to running your appliances, say goodbye to inconveniences and hello to peace of mind. Invest in a whole home generator today and never worry about power outages again. Stay connected, stay comfortable, and stay protected. Call now and get a free surge protector with a new install. While supplies last, call 402-934-7003 or just call Burton.com.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Well, I got a guy that is now joining us on the stream. You know him. He's the other part of the show, big part of the show, and you heard him last night. And I don't know at what point did Gary Sharp finally hit the rack and say, all right, I'm good. I can unplug from this. Good morning, Sharpie. What a weekend.
Yeah, good morning, boys. How we doing?
That was a good call.
It's hard to say we've been better
exciting.
because that was a hell of a weekend, topped off by a hell of a game last night that you had the opportunity to bring that home to the Omaha audience.
Yeah, what a weekend for Omaha athletics. You guys have talked about it, the atmosphere at Baxter Arena, sweeping North Dakota, basically, playing yourself, it looks like, knock on wood, into the NCAA tournament, and, packed house, and anytime you can beat North Dakota. And I mean, last night Omaha didn't play very well. They were like a step slow, except for 23. Best free throw shooting team in the Summer League, didn't hit free throws. And it felt like, and for people that have followed the Mavs this year, and you guys know, you've heard me talk about it either on the air or off the air. The record is what it is. They're 15-17, but they've had a lot of losses. I mean, they've had almost more than half of their games have been decided by 10 points or less. And they have about half their losses are by 7 points or less. And they've had so many opportunities this year to win a game, either on a comeback or hold on to a game or send a game into overtime. And, last night never felt like that. But then there was a change with about 3 minutes to go. They were down 9. North Dakota looked like they were out of gas, and they missed a front end of a 1-and-1. Omaha makes a great play on the defensive end to save a basketball from going out of bounds. And then J.J. White hits a 3. And the next thing you know, Nebraska's within 6. And North Dakota can't make a bucket. And you guys know what happened at the end with Frankie. So that was one of the first things that Coach Crutchfield said to these guys last night when they got back here to the hotel is, you guys know you can play better. And, it is what it is. This side of the bracket has been Upsetville. Denver, who has not played very well since we last saw them. They beat Kansas City, and then Omaha is a 6 seed. So it's always the goal to wear white in Sioux Falls. And so tonight, Omaha will wear white because they are the higher seed. And they asked one of the managers coming back last night, are you sure that you packed all the white jerseys?
If not, just say superstition. We got to wear black tonight. Sorry.
That play to Frankie Fiddler at the end too, is that something that you kind of anticipated coming out of that? Is that something that you've seen too, where you knew he was going to get the ball, but as far as how they were going to try to get him in position to score the way that he did?
Yeah, as great a year that Frankie has had and throughout his career at Omaha, his freshman year, he hit a lot of big shots. I mean, he single-handedly won a game against Denver at Baxter Arena where he scored the last 11 points of the game and hit a shot at the buzzer to win it. This year, he has had a handful of opportunities, guys, where he hasn't been able to make the shot. There was a game at Corpus Christi this year where he had a chance to hit the shot because they ran a play for him at the end of the game, and a really good look, and he couldn't get it to drop. He had a couple of times at Baxter this year, and they actually have benefited. North Dakota took a timeout. Omaha was going to run a little bit different play. They take a timeout, and so Omaha switched up their play that they were going to run, but it was always going to go to Frankie. And they told him to get into the middle of the lane because that's kind of the shot. You see him beforehand working on that shot. And they another benefit is North Dakota switched. For some reason, they switched on who they had guarding Frankie. And so they got a matchup they loved, and Frankie hit the shot. And I think he's probably still sleeping right now.
Oh, man. When we played it during the Open, your call at the end, the excitement, and it almost, Gary, you got to take me through this, because this is where in those moments as a broadcaster, you don't really have anything scripted. And as everybody else is still kind of in shock in that euphoric state, you're kind of in disbelief as well. And it seemed like at that moment, as you're realizing what had happened and they missed the half court shot, that you're almost kind of like trying to just process the last 5 minutes of that game. And especially that last sequence of events right there. And you called the Mitch Hahn, the play that everybody remembers, Omaha basketball fans remember, and against South Dakota State with that game winner. I mean, there have been some really awesome moments. That one has to be one of the better ones.
Yeah, and it was kind of, and I appreciate that. Probably this year, I was thinking the whole time this isn't going to happen because we've had a lot of opportunities, as I was just alluding to win games late and just haven't been able to find that shot. And down 72-71, where Markel Sutton makes a great play off a missed layup to keep the possession for Omaha that ended in the timeout and then set up the final bucket by Frankie. You don't really – you're kind of like, oh, I don't think they're going to win it. It's going to be heartbreak again. This is how it's going to end. You never know what next year's team is going to look like. And yeah, then it happened. I don't know what to say, guys. It was, it's March. And it's a really, really weird scenario tonight because Omaha has never made the NCAA tournament. Denver has never made the NCAA tournament. They played twice. They split. Omaha fell apart right out of the locker room in the second half, right before Christmas or right before the New Year's, and got beat by 15. And then went to Denver when Denver was playing really, really well, and Omaha was up by 35 at one point in the game and ended up winning by 19. Denver hasn't played very well of late. They're 3-8 since we saw them. But both of those teams have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time. On the other side of the bracket, South Dakota State and St. Thomas are playing in the 6 o'clock game. And, you've been up here, Nick. The place is going to be packed. There's all kinds of people from South Dakota State that stay and watch all the games. And, we played to almost 11 last night, and you got South Dakota State fans there. So, but here's the scenario. So St. Thomas is still making the transition from Division III to Division I. They can play in this tournament, but they can't win the berth into the NCAA tournament. They can win the conference title. So if St. Thomas beats South Dakota State tonight, and St. Thomas is playing in the final tomorrow against either Omaha or Denver, if St. Thomas wins tomorrow night, South Dakota State goes to the NCAA tournament because they won the regular season.
Yeah.
So it's a weird scenario that we've seen over the last couple of years in college basketball. And I don't know. I think, South Dakota State's a really good team. But I'm focused on what happens tonight at 8:30 because I never thought we'd still be here.
You mentioned the Denver split this season and how they're playing as of late. And I remember talking to you, I think it was after Denver had beat Omaha when we saw each other after that. And I asked, Jesus, Denver going to be a pretty solid squad this year. And you thought that they were going to be okay. And it was more of a product of the Summit League where we didn't know if there was really going to be that one dominant team. So if there's a matchup part of tonight's game that we're all watching for, that you're watching for, that either favors or is a concern, where would that be tonight?
Well, the thing about Denver is they're very athletic. They're very well coached. They have Tommy Bruner, who is the nation's leading scorer. He averages 24.2. He's just ahead of Zach Edey. But a week ago, he rolled his ankle in a game at St. Thomas, and he didn't practice all week, and he played on Saturday night, and he took one shot in the first half, and he's a guy that is a volume scorer. I mean, he had a game earlier this year where he had 49 against South Dakota in a 2 overtime contest. He only took one shot in the first half, and he has no explosive moves off his ankle because it's in bad shape. And so he can't go left or right. And Kansas City really didn't defend it very well, but then he went off in the second half just because he's a scorer. But he's an older guy. I mean, he's 25 years old. He's like the COVID, let me grab another COVID year guy. But he's a big time player. I think in the interior is where Omaha will have to be good tonight. But I'm telling you, I've been lucky enough to have a front row seat to watch Frankie play all 3 years. Yeah. We're the only two guys that are, held over from the Darren Hansen era. And when he gets going, because it's not just the shot that everybody heard or saw last night, there were plays where he put the ball on the floor. He had a play where it was about with 10 minutes to go in the game. He had the ball on the wing. He caught it from about 17 feet out. They were guarding him to send him to the baseline, and he made a head fake, got a guy on his heels, split the defense, and roared through two guys and dunked the basketball. And Frankie doesn't dunk the basketball very often, but I mean, he just got to the rim. But whenever you have 30 or 23 in the lineup, I think you got a chance. And again, I go back to something I said earlier. Omaha didn't play very well last night, and I know that they can play better, and I think the guys know they can play better, and we'll see if that comes to fruition tonight. But who knows? I mean, it's March; anything can happen, and Omaha's 2 wins away from putting 3 teams from Nebraska in the NCAA tournament.
I want to keep it with Omaha here for a moment, and I got to get your thoughts also on some of the big stories with what happened yesterday with Nebraska basketball as a 3 seed and our Big Ten Coach of the Year. I'm just saying it's happening. If there's somebody else out there, come on. I don't know what you're watching right now, but them as a 3 seed is great. You had a chance. I know you were in Sioux Falls, but you were getting reports. You were tuned into what was happening with the hockey.
Yeah, first of all, we've been in Sioux Falls. It seems like forever.
I'm sure 2 days feels like 2 months.
So when you play the 8:30 game, and where we're staying in a hotel that is away from, we're the only team in this hotel, so they've just elected to stay outside of downtown Sioux Falls. So there's no other teams around. You're kind of isolated out here. And but we sat around the hotel because we got here on Friday. We didn't play on Saturday. And then yesterday you don't play till 8:30. So the bus to the arena doesn't leave until about 6:30. Guys are just sitting around watching basketball all day, trying to find something to keep you busy. You go stir crazy. So it's it's a weird dynamic, but what a great weekend for sports. And it's kind of, I didn't get to, like you guys were at Baxter Arena, but all the administrators are up here. And last night, before the game, they're all talking about how an incredible atmosphere it was at Baxter Arena. And man, it was a good sports weekend for red, blue, and black Nebraska. And what happened in Minneapolis, that was a great showcase that, Nebraska just came up short, and tip your hat to Caitlin Clark. She kind of took over, but yeah, Omaha's got to hold up their end of the bargain to get 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. And I will tell you, at about 10:15 last night, I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, I was with you. I thought, man, this is with everything that happened this weekend, we're probably asking too much. You're feeling kind of greedy almost to see Omaha do their part, and then at the very end they do. I mentioned you brought up Nebraska women. So Terry Pettit had a pretty interesting social media post and talked about this. I want to get your thoughts. I agree with him. He said he thinks yesterday's performance against Iowa on a neutral floor was actually even more impressive than that victory that they had against Iowa in Lincoln. And he did bring up of what it could mean for them in the NCAA tournament as far as that confidence and obviously playing in that type of environment. They've done that now 3 times, because even in Lincoln, I mean, there were so many Iowa fans. There was so much attention towards Caitlin Clark. Last night or yesterday afternoon, they damn near pull it off. And I mean, they led that game early. Then Iowa comes roaring back. They're able to take a lead, have a chance to win it at regulation. And I think there is something about what Terry Pettit said, but also what this Nebraska women's team probably went through, that we saw Creighton do this a few years ago, where they got on a little bit of a run and Flan was able to get them in the Elite 8. I think there could be something with that, where I could see why people could look at that game yesterday as maybe more valuable or more impressive than what the result was when Nebraska beat Iowa and Lincoln.
Yeah, I could vibe with that. Nebraska women's basketball this year has been a little bit inconsistent, and they haven't taken advantage of opportunities, especially at the end of the regular season, to get a double bye. But that effort yesterday, they're playing their 4th game in 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And Iowa's playing their 3rd in 3 days, but I mean, you're on your 4th day of playing high level basketball, and for them to hang around as long as they did, and also to have some opportunities, I could see that. You get a week off now, and what do you do with it? Do you use some of the lessons you learned in that game to help you? But then it comes down to when your name is announced, who you're playing and how you match up against them. But I think Amy Williams a week later feels better about her team going into the NCAA tournament and having some of those questions answered than she did prior to going up to Minneapolis. And they've proven to themselves that they can compete with Iowa, who probably by rallying and winning yesterday, I think they're going to end up as a number 1 seed in the tournament.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And Connor and I were both trying to pay attention to this game while we're calling baseball. And just seeing the swings in this game there, especially in the second half, and realizing how close they came. And I just went back and watched the second half a little bit later on last night when I had a chance to, and they just look like a team that, even with Caitlin Clark going off in the second half, they look the part. And you're right. It's, can they, matchups are one thing. Can they use that opportunity? That's a big part of what was kind of cool about yesterday. Is even, you hate to say, well, it was a moral victory because you came so close. I mean, you tell Amy Williams and that team that they already beat Iowa once before. So, I mean, they were trying to go for the throat, but I just feel like that you're right. If they can use that opportunity where maybe in previous moments this year, they haven't, they were able to take advantage of the opportunity they had up in Minneapolis to get on that stage. This could be an interesting team because all of a sudden you got a freshman. I mean, you got a lot of players that are coming back next year that are really stepping up outside of Jazz Shelley. So it was a good look for them. The only thing I don't like, Gary, and they can't do anything about this, is they got to wait around this long.
Yeah.
You got to wait for another 2 weeks. I mean, it's not like they're playing the NCAA tournament this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, and I think that's the trade-off. The Missouri Valley Conference does it as well. I mean, waiting is the hardest part this time of the year. And how would you like to be Indiana State, who's got to sit a week and watch everybody play? Is, you say, hey, we'd like our conference tournament on national TV in a great time slot. And the Missouri Valley Conference has always had that Sunday time slot. So you sit around for a week, and the Indiana States or the Drakes who get beaten that game but have a good resume. And I'm not fully convinced that Indiana State's resume is great, other than they have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar playing for them, and we want to see him in the tournament. Is you get that window where a lot of people are watching on CBS. I think for women's basketball, that was great for the Big Ten yesterday to be at the 11 a.m. Central slot on CBS to get that attention. And, of course, we know why they're playing on that with 22 playing for Iowa. But, yeah, you sit around for a week, but at least Nebraska knows that they're probably going in. We're an 8 or 9 seed, and maybe their performance in Minneapolis has gotten them into that 7-10 game. So you don't have to sit and go, okay, are we going to be in or out? At least you know you're in. But I agree with you. That week, the waiting is the hardest part for teams that are on the bubble that either lose in their conference tournament game early or they lose like right away, and then you sit for 4 days and you go, okay, who is our rooting interest today?
Yeah. Want to step aside for a moment when we come back, though. What Nebraska did, I mentioned it, and I'm not joking. I think Fred is got it locked up. He should anyway, Big Ten Coach of the Year. But we're trying to get in the trust tree in the nest with Nebraska men's basketball after what they did. And we talked about it. The thought of them being a 3 seed, even last week, thought, wow, that would be amazing. They've done that. I want to get your thoughts on that and what we're looking at with this team. Now with the path, Sharpie, it's a doable path, man. It is a very doable path. We'll come back with more here on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's cold outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink Nebraska-brewed beer, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. Many people think they need to replace broken concrete, but repairing it provides durable protection and comes at a fraction of the cost. Everlevel provides permanent repair solutions to fix your concrete and protect it against future damage, and it all comes with a long-term transferable warranty. They offer free inspections to walk you through the entire process. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today.
Omaha fans, are you ready to score tickets to your favorite events hassle-free? Yes. Shop local tickets for less, located right here in Omaha, 145th and West Center Road. No hidden fees, just transparent pricing. And when you use the promo code THEZONE at checkout, you'll save big at ticketsforless.com. Whether it's sports, concerts, or something else, Tickets for Less has you covered. If you have a question, call today, 402-398-1999. You'll never find better customer service because every seat holds a story. Find yours and use the promo code THEZONE at checkout at ticketsforless.com.
Hey, guys, it's Nick for Hims. Look, as we get in this time of the year, hey, you might lose in your bracket. Not a big deal, right? Well, also, if you're losing your hair, it doesn't have to be a big deal. In fact, when you get older, a lot of those things that happen to us don't have to be a big deal because we don't have to accept it as our reality. Through Hims, you can upgrade your daily routines with prescription treatments that can make a big difference and help you regain your confidence and help you feel like yourself again. So if you want to regrow your hair, have better sex, or tackle anxiety and depression, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com and do something about it. Hims has helped millions of guys like you get help for their health problems. And since it's all online, that means no doctors' offices and no pharmacies, just solutions that can bring real results. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/start. That's hims.com/start for your free online visit. HIMS.com/START. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever's on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Might just have Sharpie go from Sioux Falls over to the Twin Cities. Nebraska will open up play on the actually this Friday as the number 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament. That's right, the number 3 seed, the double bye. Sharpie, we mentioned at the beginning of the season, just avoid Wednesday.
Yeah.
They did that, and by God. Oh my goodness! So the 3 side in the path, their side of the bracket, it's not as much as you can trust Nebraska, as much as you can say it's doable for this team. If you fully trust them, it's not a bad path at all.
Yeah, you know what? Both Creighton and Nebraska have great paths in their conference tournaments later this week, and I just think they were preseason 12th. Fred from the jump, and we've talked a lot about a lot of this. Fred from the jump said he liked this team, but the fact that they got a double bye to where they're sitting, I mean, they just took care of business. Yesterday was impressive, because it would have been easy to have a letdown because everybody's telling you should beat the heck out of Michigan. Man, K-State got cooking, and I do like their draw. I wonder, and I'm sorry if I didn't hear Tim allude to this, what playing on Saturday or Sunday would do for Nebraska. I know he's not big on the committee looking at conference tournaments, but what if you're a team like Nebraska that has played themselves out of the 7-10 game? They're in the 8-9 game. Could they play themselves back into the 7-10 game, but as the 7 seed?
And that would be a huge jump.
I think you'd have to be on. I think you'd have to get to Sunday.
You would. I think you would too. Yeah. I think you would too, because then all of a sudden you start factoring in the last month of this team. And I know the committee is going to look at the totality of their body of work, but they do start to kind of look at, I know it's at least an element that's been discussed at least in previous years of where a team has kind of been trending when it comes to a team that's in a tournament to improving their seed line. I'm with you. I would think 8 is the ceiling. If they got to 7, you would, at the very least have to be playing on Sunday. But we talked about that. If they got to Sunday, and I think it was BC who brought this up last week, how cool that would be as you're settling in for Selection Sunday show and you're watching the end of the Big Ten championship game, as we all do on CBS, and they're playing in that game. Heck, they're going to be playing in the CBS game. If they win on Friday, they'd be playing in the semifinals on Saturday in front of that audience too. So, I mean, they're in. We know they're in the tournament. It's a question of
could they potentially slide back to the 10 or be at 10 because, the non-conference strength of schedule is a concern with the committee, or could they play themselves up to maybe even an 8 seed? It's an interesting conversation around them, but the fact that we're having this conversation without any worry that they're going to miss out is, again, why Fred Hoiberg is the Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, shout out to David, who is a longtime listener of the Zone. This is probably about a month ago. We were talking about, can Nebraska get the double bye? And he said, hey, they could get as high as 3. So hat tip to David. They're in a scenario where there's no doubt now that they're in the NCAA tournament. So does that change how guys play up in Minneapolis? You go back a few years ago when Nebraska had a nice record and you thought, oh, are we in the tournament? Got a 4 seed and played like their sphincter was clogged up. Now do they play Friday a little free and easy because they're in the dance? Yeah. And does that change their mindset? But, Fred will keep the pedal down this week to make sure guys don't lose their focus and they're playing their best basketball when you hear your name announced on Sunday. I mean, guys, we've always kind of hinted about the dream of having all 3 teams, and Omaha, of course, helped themselves last night. But the fact that Nebraska and Creighton are going to be in the NCAA tournament and we're hosting the tournament, man, you couldn't ask for anything better. And now it's just up to Omaha to win 2 more games.
Yeah, well, and this game, game last night, it's set up this Monday and like at least tonight's viewing and the rest of this week with what Creighton has, with what Nebraska has on Friday. This is a fantastic week. It is, and Omaha could really make it go even further. If at the very least we're watching a Tuesday night Summit League Championship game tomorrow night on CBS Sports, and of course listening to Coyle and Gary Sharp on the call, but being able to watch and listen to that game where we've seen it be the third time where we've seen that the entire city, they have that one night where it revolves around Omaha men's basketball. We've seen it 2 previous times. It is so cool. The sports bars, people are packed just to watch that game. That's what I'm excited for. And the fact that opportunity still exists after, as you mentioned, about 5 minutes left in that game last night, it didn't look like that was going to be a possibility.
Yeah, they got to take good care of business tonight against Denver. It'll be an interesting game because Omaha's got to get off to a lot better start, but they're still in the game. We're not packing up to come home and wondering about what the roster is going to look like next year. And instead, you got a kid from Bellevue West whose high school won another state championship over the weekend, and he and Frankie and I and when the season is over, I'll talk about this a little bit more, but. Frankie and I, again, we were here with Coach Hansen 2 years ago, and, people wondered if Frankie was going to stick around. Nobody said if I'm going to stick around. They didn't really care about me.
Well, they know your NIL deal solid.
But Frankie and I, we have a different kind of relationship, and I'm a huge fan of his, and he just simply wants to win. His goal is to take Omaha to the NCAA tournament, and last night in the huddle, he said after the game, he was talking to one of the local reporters on their media duties, and he just said, I want the basketball. And he got the basketball. And, in my head, I'm thinking after I hear him tell that story, when we were all together back at the hotel for the post-game meal, which is always healthy to be eating at about midnight.
I remember.
You remember, Nick, because I think you were here. The first time Omaha had a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, Tradeon Hollins, who was an Omaha kid, said, Omaha kids don't pass up those shots. And unfortunately, Tradeon missed, and Omaha got beat by South Dakota State. And all I can think about is if Omaha gets to that point tomorrow night, they could be playing South Dakota State, and another Omaha kid could have a chance to, make history and cement himself as a legend. So we'll see. It's March. It's fun. It'll be just a long day of waiting until Omaha plays tonight at 8:30.
Yeah, what's your guys' what's on the agenda before we say goodbye?
Well, I will say this: it's interesting to watch from the outside because I just looking at a group text message of telling the guys what their itinerary is for the day. I don't think coaches left their team room until about 2:45 this morning. So they had already started prep on Denver because Denver won the night before, so they were already ready for that, but. Guys don't get up until 10 o'clock this morning, and they have a late shoot around, and then you sit around the hotel, maybe go to the Empire Mall. Maybe you're amazed that this whole town is either Avera Health or Sanford, and all they do is build brand new buildings. But it's supposed to be 71 here. Maybe we'll go to the water park or something.
Did you bring your clubs?
No, but I might have to. I might see if Adrian Dow would like to take me golfing today.
Yeah.
Exactly what you expect in Sioux Falls.
Yes. You know what? Hey, I'm a big fan of Sioux Falls. They have it's growing. I'm a fan, but I don't know if I'll be saying that tomorrow night if Omaha's playing to go to the NCAA tournament and you got 12,000 people that are dressed in Jackrabbit colors there, but you got to get there first.
Absolutely. And I already said I'm staying away from Sioux Falls if they make it tomorrow night. I'm 0 for 2. I'm not gonna make myself anywhere in sight there. But as you mentioned, got to get there. Great opportunity, man. Have a great call tonight. What we got? 8 o'clock pregame.
8 o'clock pregame, depending on the length of the St. Thomas, South Dakota State game, but looks like 8 o'clock, and then 8:30 to try and play for another championship.
Get a midday power nap in too.
I'll see. The room currently is at 80 degrees. It is nice and toasty.
Oh, okay, that's right. I forgot you like that. Yeah, I got you.
That's good stuff. How's the room coffee?
Not so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can't all be winners, right?
No, that's true.
All right. Have a good call tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
All right. That's Gary Sharp on the call tonight, and he'll be joining us at some capacity tomorrow. I'm hoping it's very similar that it was today because that means they won. That's right. And I'm assuming we'll probably have Gary on if they win tonight, probably shortly after Sam joins us tomorrow as well. So exciting things. And you're right. When you think of how awesome it has been to watch Nebraska men's basketball, what they've been able to do this year, Creighton starting to kind of fulfill a lot of those preseason prognostications and a lot of the individual awards too, going with the guys like Baylor Shireman and Trey and Kalk, the big three. But then also Omaha still having a heartbeat after, Gary said it too, didn't even play their best basketball, but to have a chance there at the end to get it into their guys' hands and he delivers and you now play in the semifinals. That's all you could ask for. So they will approximately tip off around 8:30. That'll be on 1290 Coil and the pregame coverage right around 8 o'clock. For that one. When we return, Jacob Bigelow will be joining us. We'll get his thoughts on what he took away from Nebraska, the season that it's been, and what could this mean for next year, too, for Nebraska basketball. Their success there this year. Are we now at a moment under Fred Hoiberg where it could be sustained success? We'll also talk with Amy Just. It was a big wrestling weekend, women's basketball, men's basketball, and everything else that Amy is covering because she does it all. That's all coming up in the 9 o'clock hour here on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. It's a steady morning in the Omaha Metro with no new accidents or heavy delays reported. However, there's still a disabled vehicle in the right shoulder of eastbound I-80 at 42nd. On northbound 72nd, there's construction from L to J. It's causing slow traffic from Q to I-80. Everything else is smooth sailing on this Monday morning. Hope you had a great day. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery is back. Up until April 2nd, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter to be one of 14 weekly winners of $5,000 or $500. Details at nelottery.com. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
The College Basketball Championship is fast approaching, and 1620 The Zone has your chance to win a local 1620 The Watch Party at Backlot Tap House in Exarban for you and your crew. Come on! Plus, we're taking 1620 The Watch Party to Las Vegas. One grand prize winner will score a flyaway to Las Vegas to stay at the Circa Resort and Casino. Join in on the madness. Don't miss your shot to enter to win now at 1620thezone.com. Powered by Circa Resort and Casino and Backlot Tap House.
Woodhouse Buick is bringing you more for the new year. With every new Buick purchase from Woodhouse, we're including 3 years of scheduled maintenance. Plus, with our current lease offers going on now, you'll save even more. Lease a 2024 Buick Encore GX for $297 a month for 39 months, 10,000 miles per year. With approved credit, must finance with GM Financial. Must currently lease a 2019 or newer GM vehicle to qualify. $2,795 down payment and first payment plus $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires April 1st, 2024. See dealer for details.
New Year's resolutions start and end at Level Countertops, Cabinets, and Flooring in Elkhorn. Is your resolution this year to get organized, and take your kitchen to the next level? They create a unique space that's not only beautiful, but functional and organized. They come to you, listen to your needs, and create your functional design. For all your cabinet and organizational needs, visit their beautiful showroom at Level Countertop, Cabinets, and Flooring, 192nd in West Maple, or online at levelomaha.com. That's levelomaha.com.
When you keep a car for a long time, it becomes a classic. When you keep your air conditioner for a long time, it becomes, well, let's just say it doesn't get better with age. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and have your old air conditioner checked out. If it's needed, you can have a brand new Carrier air conditioner installed in no time with fast and easy financing. When the other companies send salesmen, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of the way we do the things we do.
Carrier, turn to the experts. Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
The Sunshine and Rainbow Monday continues here on Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy.
Yeah. Bring your own Skittles. We got to get Jacob.
We don't need to bring your own energy today, man. The energy has been provided.
Even Jacob's got it.
It's going to continue. I was going to say with
Jacob,
our next
we're going to
guest.
get you a new picture, unless you really want this one of you 12 years old.
Jacob does look like he doesn't even have a learner's permit in this picture.
It's a nice polo, though.
Yeah,
I have several. Like
oh yeah, I could. You know, how I can tell how old that picture is because the polo is one of those.
I know.
A little bit more of the rigid Adidas ones where it actually still curls a little bit. Too.
I would say this one would be 16, 17 if I remember my polos from my time.
Oh my
Kansas.
gosh! If you're even right, I'm gonna leave. Is he right? Was that about 2016, 17?
I believe he's right.
Oh,
yeah,
of course you are.
So the year after they did a similar one, but a little different, and the collars were a little more like with it. So yeah, 16, 17.
Yeah, because I think that was the first year I started doing Nebraska baseball on the radio, and I had I think the exact same polo that I believe Jacob is wearing there. And
so in 16, 17, our polos had the KU, which I never liked. I preferred the Jayhawk, but it had that collar. So I got rid of all of those that year. And also they were huge on me because they gave me large. So the next year I got medium and I got the new ones and I still have
Jacob,
those.
His hair game in that picture is on point.
It's very good hair.
Yes. It's on point. What's up, man? How we doing this morning?
Not a whole lot, man. I'm good. I'm actually in a great mood on the Monday after daylight savings, which is rare, but was a good sports weekend, man. There was some good ball throughout to watch, and I'm in a good mood.
Before we get into college hoops, I know you were around Pinnacle Bank Arena over the weekend and seeing some of the state basketball tournaments taking place between Devaney and Pinnacle Bank Arena, I should say. Bellevue West, I mean, I want to give Doug Woodard a lot of credit for everything Bellevue West has accomplished. His first year away from the head coaching role, I mean, it was an assistant, so it's not like you turn it over to an outsider, but I mean, at some point, do we have to step back and just say, boy, what Bellevue West is doing, what they have done, what they did under Doug Woodard, what they look like they continue to do is about as impressive as it gets?
Oh, absolutely. And then like I have to echo that same sentiment, credit to, Coach Woodard for building the program that Bellevue West basketball is. And kudos to Coach Klein for keeping it rolling in, his first year at the helm. And, they've only lost once in the last 2 years, which is pretty darn impressive. And then they, take the edge over Millard North 3-2 in the 5-year running series in the state title game. But I mean, that's always been a really impressive program, really impressive athletic department over there with what football's been with Coach Huffman, and then Coach Woodard, obviously built quite the program on the hardwood too, and another banner to hang up in the Thunderdome.
What was your overall takeaway with just the level of play that you saw from Wednesday all the way to Saturday for the games that you watched? I was the games that I was able to watch, Jacob. It was kind of, to me, sort of hit or miss. Some of them were kind of sloppy. And I understand when you're playing the first game in a little bit bigger arena, sometimes the offense and the shots aren't falling as much. But what was just kind of your overall takeaway with the talent that you saw in the different classes?
I'll be 100% transparent. I was mostly following Class A, and then I watched most of the state finals on TV on Saturday. And then the first Class A game I was at was Central Bellevue West on Friday night, and there were there were more turnovers than made shots in the first half. So I mean it was up and down for sure, but I mean when an example in that Class A final, I mean when Millard North and Bellevue West started trading buckets, it was like, okay, here we go. Like this is it's turning up a little bit, but it was kind of all over the place in terms of how the games looked aesthetically, but there was still some talented players throughout who had big games, big weeks, and I just always enjoy the state tournament regardless. I'm a sucker for it, so I still enjoyed it.
Jacob, if we were to have this discussion back in November, or maybe even better yet, after that Minnesota game in Minneapolis in December, and we said, hey, Nebraska is going to be a 3 seed at the Big Ten tournament, you would have said what?
I would have probably chuckled a couple times and asked what happened to the rest of the conference. But I mean, it's definitely it's not where I thought they'd be. I thought they definitely would finish 12th, but I didn't think they'd get as high as third. But that's a testament to this group and this coaching staff for to compare and contrast the feelings around the program, now compared to where they were, the first week of December. It's a pretty stark night and day difference.
Is there a debate in your opinion on Big Ten Coach of the Year?
There shouldn't be, but I mean, I can see where some people would create one. People, the big Jays from Northwestern, I'm sure will gladly, stump for Chris Collins. There may be a vote or two for Ben Johnson because, I mean, Nebraska was picked 12th, and I mean, Minnesota was picked dead last. And, anytime I talked about Minnesota, on this show from the start of the year to when they beat Nebraska in that game, I, basically referred to their coach as a dead man walking and who was going to take his job.
Right.
So I could see, people, stumping for Collins and for Ben Johnson. But I think to get the 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament, they're going to take the program back to the in-state tournament for the first time in a decade. And I think Fred Hoiberg should win Big Ten Coach of the Year.
And I don't want to get too far ahead of what they've accomplished, what they have coming up here this weekend in Minneapolis, but also at the NCAA tournament. We start to look at when Fred could have his first true run of success that would end in the NCAA tournament. Would we be able to see this program get to a level of sustainability with success? And I know there's probably a lot of people, and Jacob, maybe you have your own definition of what that would look like, but do you look at what Fred has accomplished with this group, and given the fact that a good chunk of that group can come back next year, that it's okay to start thinking you could see something similar next year, and maybe not even to the tune of a 3 seed, but you could see something similar to where this team is very much in that NCAA tournament conversation yet again. And then you start kind of building off of that as well, where, dare I say, we get into a cycle, kind of like what we saw in the Danny Nee years, where this team was constantly in that conversation year in and year out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a possibility. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pieces from this group that are, key contributors that I would expect to be back next year. They're bringing in, they have a 2-man, recruiting class out of high school with a local product and Braden Frager reclassifying, and a player out of Wisconsin who, by all accounts, is a steal, and then some. And Nick Janowski, and we'll see, what their activity is like in the portal. I think we know what they're going to need roster building wise, but the momentum, the momentum internally and externally, how the fan base views the program, how the people around the league are viewing it. I mean, it's definitely going to be, trending in the right direction, and they're going to have the pieces to, you hear people talk about, stacking days or stacking weeks.
Yeah.
It could be stacking years for Fred Weber. This could be, just for the record, I mean, my definition of success for Nebraska basketball is for games in February and early March to be meaningful games. For them to still be playing for something that isn't just avoiding Wednesday, in the conference tournament. To be in the conversation in the conference, maybe even on the outskirts of the conversation, nationally, and for the fan base to still be tuned in, late in the season and late January and February and March. That's how I define a successful season.
From the coaching staff to the roster, what do you think was the most important development of this season, or whether it be an addition or a way someone was playing or an addition on the bench? Just what do you look at of this year, of what maybe allowed it to come together, if there's something that really sticks out to you?
I don't know if it's just one thing. I mean, I guess it would just be the balance of the team, really. I mean, we saw obviously Casey have a big day yesterday, but many people, mostly because they probably didn't know much about the other pieces on the roster, figured if Nebraska was going to win games, that it had to look like that. It had to look like it did yesterday with Casey going off, and that's how they're going to win, and that's how they're going to win games, is Casey just being on a season-long heater. But they've shown that Rink Mast, Bryce Williams, Juwan Gary, even C.J. Wilcher had his hot streak. Marcus Lawrence has had a couple nice games. I mean, they've got a balanced attack to come at you multiple ways. Guys who can score at all three levels, and it's a very balanced team. And they're I'm sure they're a tough team to scout for. Like, just from what I know about prep at the the college level and scout and all that, I'm sure Nebraska's a tough team to scout for.
That's a good point too, and I want to ask you, as we're talking with Jacob Bigelow here on 1620 The Zone, the difference between Nebraska getting the 3 seed and the 4 seed, as I look at that path right now, it works out even more favorably, other than a higher seed with the number, and that is who they await on Friday. The winner of Indiana, who Indiana will play the winner of Penn State and Michigan. All three of those teams Nebraska has had success against, as opposed to playing in the 4 seed, where you'd be playing the winner of what would you have? You'd have the winner of Northwestern. I'm sorry, you would be the 4 seed. Okay, let me back this up. Sorry, Jacob, follow me on this one. You'd be the 4 seed. You'd be playing the winner of Wisconsin, who plays the winner of Maryland and Rutgers. All three of those teams have beaten Nebraska. So when people say, what's the difference between the 4 and the 3 seed? You get a double bye. It's a double bye nonetheless. That 3 seed is, you look at Nebraska's matchup with the teams that they could play, much more favorable than what they would have as the 4 seed.
Yeah, I completely and totally agree. I mean, Indiana, they've turned it around a little bit. They've got the win, at home against Michigan State yesterday, and how Mike Woodson handled that post-game situation can be a whole nother discussion. But they appear to have found a little bit of something. But and then if Michigan or Penn State were to win a game and then beat Indiana, that'd be their third game in 3 days when they take on Nebraska too. So it's pretty favorable. I think the late start on Friday is also, pretty favorable too. I think there may be some people dressed in red making the trip up to Minneapolis for the Friday night game and seeing where the weekend takes them. So it'll be, I'm looking forward to being up there as well. I'm looking forward to making the trip up later in the week, and should be a lot of fun.
Any predictions? Where do you feel this goes for Nebraska starting on Friday?
I think they'll be playing on Saturday.
Nice.
It'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be them in Illinois in the semifinal, and I'm interested to see that matchup again. I obviously, Illinois, they're on a little bit of a heater of their own. They can really put up points in a hurry, but they at the same time do not play much defense. So I would be interested to see that matchup on a neutral court. Both teams with a game under their belt, and see how that goes. And then I think that'd be it'd be pretty big for Nebraska regardless. Playing on CBS on that Saturday afternoon with a shot to they've never made it Saturday in their time in the league. That'd be a first, and then anything after that would be gravy and then some. So
before I let you go, I want you to tell me if I am getting too hung up on this or there could be something there. All of a sudden, Josiah Alec is giving you some offense. There seems to be even a little bit more control to the chaos that he brings, which you want to encourage every night, that sort of chaotic play because it's effective. But all of a sudden, he's starting to stack some positive games, and we're seeing him become a little bit more of an offensive presence. Is that something here in postseason play, or is that just sort of, it's any given week you could kind of get that from him, but don't count on it?
I think it might be. I think it's something for sure, and I think that's just because of Joe's mindset. I think he is really, really dialed in. He is, I've talked to him a little bit, after games, and I ran into him at a high school game a couple weeks ago, and we talked a little bit. But he's talked about, his mindset and how he knows exactly what he needs to do, and the reason he came to Nebraska. He's just reiterated that again and again, and he's that's been a common refrain from this team of wanting to take this program to where it's never been before. But Josiah knows that more than almost anyone. Being a local kid and growing up in Lincoln, and he's been pretty dialed in. And I saw a stat yesterday that said Nebraska, I think it's 15-2 when he scores more than 6 points in a game. So that's a pretty good trend when they're getting even if it's just 6 or not even in the single digits from him, it's still been a good trend for them. So it's good to see, and I think it could be something.
Jacob Bigelow joins us every Monday talking Husker hoops and just everything else when it comes to hoops. He'll be up there in the Twin Cities for the Big Ten men's basketball tournament. Jacob, appreciate it. Safe travels up there. Enjoy the tournament. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Yep, sounds great. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun with what Nebraska has around them. I'm with Jacob. Obviously, I have Nebraska losing on Friday because that's just what I do now.
No, they're
but
lose.
That path
by 70.
It's amazing when you look at the way the tournament sort of seeded and what Nebraska would have had as a 4 seed compared to a 3 seed with the teams that they would have the opportunity of playing. That's not to say, hey, well, Indiana and Penn State and who's the other one? Penn State and Michigan. Indiana, Penn State, Michigan. Well, Nebraska's going to beat them.
Play all 3 of them.
But you've beat all of them, and you've looked good in doing so. In fact, you've beat Indiana twice. You've beat Michigan twice. So you feel good about that. And I know there's always the counter of, well, try beating those teams 3 times. You can't do that. But again, from a matchup standpoint, it favors Nebraska.
I thought you were going to say Moose outside. I should have told.
Park's closed, folks. All you can ask for is the matchup. The matchup is favorable for Nebraska. But if I look at them, if they would have played as the 4 seed, still getting a double bye, which I heard that a lot over the weekend of, it doesn't really matter. If Nebraska can just get that double bye, all is well. That would have been a very interesting situation that they would have then been in a position where they would have been playing the winner of the game between Wisconsin and Maryland and Rutgers. Again, all 3 teams that have beat Nebraska. I'd love to see Nebraska again against Maryland because that was one of their just most god-awful performances on the road. I mean, they had a few. You lose track of some of those. That was a really bad performance. But Maryland took it to Nebraska. Rutgers got them once. Now, Nebraska was able to return the favor here last week. But then also Wisconsin, who, yes, Nebraska did beat. And the way Wisconsin's playing right now, not ideal if you're Greg Gard.
That's their problem.
But Wisconsin did handle Nebraska at the Kohl Center earlier in the year, too. So all you can hope for.
They made it rain with Kohl's cash.
They should have. They were making it rain with just about everything that
Kirk Cousins
they put up in the air.
I want to go to Nebraska.
It was impressive. Oh, I'm talking about when Wisconsin beat Nebraska. They could not miss. And now all of a sudden that offense is a lot more challenged than it was. All you can hope for is matchups that you feel good about. And I think everybody that looks at Nebraska's path up until that Illinois game, which again, they played Illinois very well on the road, just didn't get the win.
They could have won.
It's a good that's a good path. And Gary was right. The Creighton path also very good to get to that championship game and what would be an amazing environment Saturday night at MSG if they're playing, say, UConn. Yeah, that would be all right. I'd sign up for that again. I think everybody would.
UConn, yeah, 5:30 game too.
Yeah,
sign me up. I can watch it. Sunday night, right?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday night.
Saturday.
Oh,
yeah.
I stay up later on Saturday.
MSG Saturday. Yeah, Big Ten is on Sunday, but yeah.
Big Ten's. I knew that now. That's right.
I love how you perked up at 5:30.
5:30. Yes. I don't care what time we do. We're gonna have a good time with.
Have you ever eaten dinner at 4? I feel like
not yet. We're trending that way. We're trending that way.
It's so funny. Out of the three of us, you're the youngest, yet I swear you act like the oldest.
Yeah. Many would argue I have been a curmudgeon since September of 1988. In fact, I remember my first day of kindergarten. Man, I had that RBF going down. Do not ask me my name. I don't know what my major is yet. I'm 5. I didn't wet the bed last night. It's a win.
Just love that you perked up when it's in 5:30.
5:30?
5:30. I can get down with that.
Call Luby's. I'll be there at 4:30. Oh wait,
these 8:30 games are not in your wheelhouse like tonight for Omaha, right? I mean, I know you can make an exception if the circumstances are correct, and tonight is, but you'd prefer that to be the 5 or the 6. Was it? Oh yeah, 6 o'clock game. Yeah, I think
many people, including our next guest here in a little bit, will tell you 1, I don't BS you, and 2, I have no filter. But the first part will tell you I'm not staying awake for that, but it'll be the first damn thing I check in the morning when I wake up. Last night went to bed, saw they were down 36-32. I was like, all right, come on, Frankie, do something. I know something, and he did.
Yes, he did.
So no, Gary's all about the 8:30 games. I'm all about the 11 a.m. games.
Hey. 11 a.m. games are great too.
2:30.
Don't get me wrong.
Limit. We're talking football.
If we get the occasional late nighter,
I'll bitch, but I'll watch.
I'll sacrifice for that. All right. When we come back, you mentioned Amy Josh. She will join us next. Big wrestling weekend for Nebraska. Got a couple players. Wrestlers. They play the wrestling. That'll be going to nationals. Also, what we can take away from the women's basketball team in their time up in Minneapolis that almost ended with a conference tournament title, and we'll get her thoughts on Nebraska men's march into Minneapolis as well. Amy Just of the Lincoln Journal-Star next.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and very warm for your Monday with a high today in Omaha of 76. Breezy winds possible up to 20 to 30 miles an hour. Very high to near critical fire danger today for eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. Tonight, skies becoming partly to mostly cloudy with lows very mild, dropping into the 40s. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV News Watch 7.
Got the happy hour blues? Get to Cops for happy hour relief with 2 happy hours from 3 to 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. till close Sunday through Friday. Cops serves 24-ounce domestic drafts for just $3 and 24-ounce craft drafts for only $4, plus $2 off appetizers. The restaurant that offers great pizza, burgers, and tasty charred wings now offers 2 great happy hours. Visit Cops today at 180th and Center, the Shadow Lake Town Center, and 72nd and Jones, or click copspizza.com. Cops, pizza, and so much more.
Riding season is here, and it's time to trade in and trade up. Or, if you ain't riding it, Luss Hills Harley-Davidson is buying it. Sell your Harley-Davidson today. Luss Hills Harley-Davidson. Rise up and ride on.
If you're unhappy with your job or employer and you've hit a dead end, it's time to start your new career as a delivery driver with Host Coffee. Our local family-owned business is growing, and we now have openings for delivery drivers and other positions starting at $22 an hour with full benefits. If you're interested, visit hostcoffee.net/careers to connect with us.
Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
It's mulch better at Lanahaw. Planning to wake up your tired yard for spring? Make your landscape the envy of the neighborhood with mulch from Lanahaw's Garden Center, where quality is always a priority. Convenient pickup or delivery available. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source. By your mom's house.
Don't let power outages disrupt your life. Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More is here to help ensure your home stays powered no matter what. Introducing the ultimate solution for uninterrupted power, the Generac Whole Home Generator. From keeping your lights on to running your appliances, say goodbye to inconveniences and hello to peace of mind. Invest in a whole home generator today and never worry about power outages again. Stay connected, stay comfortable, and stay protected. Call now and get a free surge protector with a new install. While supplies last, call 402-934-7003 or just call Burton.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Oh, this mate go down. Mate go down.
You remember what movie this is from?
Yep. Go.
Yeah. This
Yep.
is why we're friends. Obscure movies. Most people are like, I've never heard what the hell that is.
Go. Go is a good movie.
It is a good movie. Good for the whole family.
This song was good. One hit wonder though. Len.
Yeah.
I believe his name. Yeah.
The sunshine was stolen and never
Yep,
returned.
it never did. Always sunshine, though, when we have our next guest from Lincoln Journal Star, Amy Just joining us. We need to play the game of where is Amy going this week, because she could have been in
Work,
one of
probably.
3 different spots last week. Why do I keep wanting to say St. Paul? It's in Minneapolis, you idiot. Come on. I'm talking to myself. I'm trying to motivate myself. But Minneapolis
say
could have
Minnesota.
been in Pennsylvania. I mean, you could have been the state tournaments going on. Amy, I know you were up catching the women's basketball Big Ten tournament as well, but this has been quite the week of just everything local, and it's just a feel good Monday, even with the loss that Nebraska had to Iowa. I mean, are you feeling this on Monday? Is everybody just like a little bit more pep in the step today?
You just ask her, can you feel it?
I am so tired, you guys.
Oh, come on. No.
No.
I am too.
So I wasn't
mellow here.
up in Minneapolis for the whole women's tournament. I just went for the championship game. So I left after Lincoln Lutheran lost in the state final game and went to Minnesota. So I am feeling it.
You're beat. Okay.
Did you drive?
Yes.
Oh,
you did. Okay.
Yeah. And I got back
driving to work
before midnight.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for coming on. I mean, you could have
I was
slept.
awake.
Okay. Well, I
I was
appreciate you contributing
her
to our
64
show,
ounce iced
even with
coffee.
little sleep. That's I just figured you were probably in and out, probably got the flight back, or probably in before dinner
Oh, no.
last night.
You think I am much more important than I am. That's cute. Thanks.
Well, we try. I want to start somewhere where you went last week, and without even reading your column, and then I eventually did, I was saying the exact same thing of Fred Hoiberg. I don't even think it is up for debate, and maybe yesterday solidified it, although I didn't want to say, well, Fred Hoiberg should be the Big Ten Coach of the Year if they beat Michigan and boil it down to one game. But when you think of all the coaches that have overachieved in the Big Ten, and there are some, I when it comes down to it, Amy, I just don't think anyone has done it better this year than Fred Hoiberg.
I agree with you. And I think we might see a similar situation tomorrow like we did with the women's awards with the Big Ten freshmen. I think the coaches will get it right. I do not have faith in the media to get it right. I think they'll go with Painter.
Oh, think so, huh?
I do. I think they'll go with Painter. And I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong. But I think they're going to go with Painter.
What has been the most impressive thing about what Fred, in your opinion, what Fred has been able to do with this particular team to get them in the position that they're in right now?
Honestly, I think the most impressive thing is that he has coached them up so well. And it's not just him, it's the whole staff, right? But like, they're not going to have a first team All Big Ten guy tomorrow.
Nope.
They might not even have a second team All Big Ten guy tomorrow. And yet they finished third in the conference. That's insane.
Some of this also kind of goes back to last year, where it's interesting seeing kind of the evolution of Fred Hoiberg in his second time around in college basketball, utilizing the transfer portal, but what they've now prioritized out of the transfer portal. And I know this is a yearly award, but I think, Amy, we could say you started to see him sort of transform this program even at the end of last year.
Yeah, and that's where I started with my column, is that they looked, it was a dire straits last year, right after Juwan Gary and Emmanuel Bandamel got hurt.
Yep.
You're like, oh no, this is going to end so poorly. Like, will Fred get fired? Type of bad. And they figured it out. Took them a little bit, but they figured it out. Had a phenomenal run in February. You know, we're on the cusp of getting into the NIT. And then this season. So I really think everything began last season with the guys who are still here to get them confidence to know that they can win and that they can beat anybody. And then you bring in the new guys who had loads of experience where they were.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of a couple different setbacks, right? With the guy you presume is going to be your starting point guard can't play due to gambling things. And then Rink gets assaulted before the season starts. And, you know, how long is he going to be out? And then he comes back, he plays. Oh, and then he needs a knee procedure in December and comes back and plays on it before he's 100% healthy because he wants to be there. And your bench depth takes a hit, right? With Blaze Keita still not having played, right? So, like, yeah, like they've done well without him. They could use him, right? That Purdue game, they could have used his depth for sure. And other games too, but that one especially, right? So, yeah, it didn't look like it was going to go Nebraska's way. And here they are, finishing third in the conference for the first time since before I was born. It's insane.
Well, and I'm glad you bring up some of those outline factors, because I think a lot of people on the surface are just going to look at where they were picked to finish in preseason at 12, where they ultimately finished, who do they have coming back compared to other teams. And a lot of that is still going to probably lead you to a very favorable conversation about Fred. But for people like yourself that have followed this basketball program and the happenings too, all of those things you bring up as well, you did have a lot of things working against you. Two of your major culture pieces from a year ago graduate in Derek Walker and Sam Greasel, but also you talk about the assault to ring mess. I mean, just an odd set of circumstances there. Blaze Cada also a big part of that too. And then the Aaron Eulis part of it. And then you're also all of a sudden trying to look to guys like a Jamarcus Lawrence. You're looking to guys like CJ Wilcher and other players to kind of piece together that point guard role, or at least try to be put in a position to where the lack of point guard play won't define this team like it has in previous years, where you can, again, have a system in place where you don't necessarily need that dedicated guy. A lot of those things, I just don't know how many coaches under those circumstances could get the same type of result. And that's where I'm led back to who else other than Fred Hoiberg.
Yeah, well, I'll read off some stats for you. So the last time there was a Big Ten Men's Coach of the Year that their team finished lower than second was Pitino in 17 at Minnesota. Since then, it was, this didn't age well, but they had a good season that year. Chris Holtmann at Ohio State for 2018, they finished second. 2019, you have Matt Painter, they finished first. 20, you have Guard at Wisconsin, they finished first. 21, this didn't age well either, but they had a good season that year. Juwan Howard at Michigan, they finished first. 22, Guard, they finished first. Last year, Chris Collins at Northwestern, they finished second. So that's why I don't think it'll be Fred. But I would love to be wrong.
No, you might end up being right, but I think we know what he's done, and I think he will get a lot of that type of attention, which is very much warranted. I want to shift over to where you were yesterday, and that was the Nebraska women's Big Ten championship game, Nebraska-Iowa women's basketball game. They almost pulled off for a second straight time against a team that's going to be a number one seed. I keep bringing this up today because I thought Terry Pettit had some really good thoughts on what he took away from that game. And one of the things that I do agree with him on is I think that performance yesterday maybe was, I don't even think maybe, I think it was more impressive than Nebraska coming back and beating Iowa in Lincoln, given the circumstances, neutral site, everything that was on the line, that they had a chance to win it there at the end of regulation, end up falling short in overtime. But what they did in that moment and what it could mean for this team in the NCAA tournament, I think was pretty significant.
Oh, yeah, no question. They played really well. Just a few mistakes that burned them at the wrong time, right? And of course, you're going against Caitlin Clark, who is, Caitlin Clark. But they held her to 4 points at halftime.
Yeah.
Which is wild. I don't know if any team has done that to her.
No, I don't. And I think they were bringing that up. I don't think anybody had. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. And it wasn't just Jazz. They did it by committee, which was the even more impressive part about it. Like they all, depending on who was on the floor, because they were rotating pretty significantly for fresh legs because that was their fourth game in 4 days, whereas it was Iowa's third. Yeah, but I thought they did a great job on her until she inevitably went off because that's what she does. But if you look like just behind the sheer numbers, like Caitlin Clark did not play great yesterday. Like her numbers were phenomenal, but it took her a while to get there. And I think Nebraska holding her to 4 points at halftime and she was like 0 of 8, 0 of 9 on her first 3-point attempts. Like they did so well for being so exhausted. And I think that this proves that they're going to be a really dangerous out in March, just because they had to play 4 games in 4 days. They were all super physical, super exhausting. One was close. The other 2 were a little bit more distanced. And then you have to play overtime against Iowa and you handle yourselves. Like they're not going to have to do anything quite like that in the NCAA tournament. They're not playing 4 games in 4 days.
Yeah, that's a good point. Before I let you go, and this was, I thought on surface was very impressive, and you've been covering them. You've been following this group all season long. Nebraska wrestling gets 9 to qualify for the national NCAA tournament. Just when you look at this group and how, I guess maybe that number right there, what does that say to you about this season and what this program is about right now?
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And what is crazy to me is that those are just the automatic qualifiers. Like, Bubba Wilson could get an at-large berth today or tomorrow. So they could get all 10. I don't know the last time that's happened, but that's wild to me. Like, last year they got 7. The year before they got 8.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, they did very well at those tournaments the past 2 years. So you have 9 guys there. They could do well as a team again. They only had 1 Big Ten champion. They had several guys get 3rd and obviously 9 guys podium. So yeah, that's bananas. What Ridge Lovett has been able to do this season is so impressive. And if you listeners haven't watched him wrestle, go back and watch some of his highlights. He's phenomenal. I know a lot of light gets shown on Nash, and it should. He qualified for nationals as an AQ. What?
Yeah.
Like, that's
I'm
so
going to pick it back up whenever I want. I'm just going to go qualify for nationals. No big deal.
insane. Absolutely insane. And then, if you're not paying attention to Nash, you're following Peyton Robb, which, of course, you're following him. It's a crazy story. I've detailed that pretty extensively. But what Ridge has been able to do as well, like, still undefeated, by the way, wild. Because his weight class is full of heavy hitters, and he has handled it the entire season. And I cannot wait to watch him wrestle next weekend. Not this weekend, but the next weekend.
Are you driving back up to Minneapolis this week then?
You betcha.
All right. Hopefully you're there through
She even
Sunday.
use the local vernacular.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you betcha. Yeah. Hopefully you're there through Sunday, because that means that Nebraska's playing for a Big Ten title on Sunday before the selection show.
Then I would have to stay through Monday, because I'm not driving back after writing after the selection show.
Yeah, deer are prevalent this time of the year. It's very dangerous.
Although it's daylight savings, so you'll see them a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
Amy, Amy, thank you so much for joining us. Get some rest today. Appreciate all the great work, and we will talk to you next week.
I've got 2 big features coming. 8 No Rest for the Wicked.
All right. Hey, what do you got? Can you
said
tease
that
it
before? I would have played the song.
Can you? Oh, yeah, that's also a good song. Can you tease it real quick before I let you go?
CJ Wilcher, and then the other one is a surprise.
I love it. All right. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, guys.
Amy Jess, Lincoln Journal Star. More content on CJ Wilcher, man. I'm all about. That's my guy. That's my dude. All right, we're gonna take a break. Come back. We will wrap things up. Get you ready for the crossover in the Connor Happer Show here on a. What else can we describe this Monday as?
First day of the work week.
I said Sunday. No, Jimmy, come on. We're positive. Hey,
4 days to Friday.
Our work day is about 5 minutes from being over with. Our Monday, so then we can just sit back and get ready for an 8:30 affair between Omaha and Denver tonight.
You mean the other people that work here that are going to have to be on the radio when it's 76 degrees outside?
There,
everybody
right.
else is playing.
See, there he's back, ladies and
Have
gentlemen.
fun working.
He's back. All right, we're back after this.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
Hey, guys, it's Nick for Hims. Have you noticed that dunk that you used to have is now turning into more of a layup? You know what I mean, right? As you get older, sometimes you're looking for better performance in the bed. Maybe you're losing your hair. Well, the good news is through Hims, you can upgrade your daily routines with prescription treatments that can make a big difference and help you regain your confidence and help you feel like yourself again. So if you want to regrow your hair, have better sex, or tackle anxiety and depression, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com and do something about it. The entire process is 100% online, so the conversation stays between you and a medical provider that you can chat with through hims.com. And the best part is Hims treatments, it fits seamlessly into your everyday routine. So once you get treatment, taking care of your health problems is surprisingly simple. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/start. That's hims.com/start for your free online visit. HIMS.com/START. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Here at the Salvation Army of Omaha, providing food to families in need is one of the most important things we do. And this year, the demand for food is on the rise at our Omaha pantry. That's why we're teaming up with 6 News WOWT for the Love Beyond Hunger food drive. There are 2 ways you can donate. Bring non-perishable items to our in-person food drive event at 87th and Dodge on March 14, or just donate online right now at salarmyfooddrive.org. That's salarmyfooddrive.org. Thanks for your support.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Roofing. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Roofing come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
If we've learned anything from the headlines, it's that unexpected things happen too often. Those in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better, and your gut knows that time is short to prepare for what's around the corner next. My Patriot Supply has helped over 2 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200 plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar-powered generators, water filtration units, emergency medical supplies, and heirloom seeds. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, real quickly, big thanks to our guests on the show today. Tim Kruger at TK Brackets on Twitter. Bracket will be out later for the stadium. Some good stuff with him. Jacob Bigelow and Amy Just. Radio replay is up for you. Don't forget Omaha men's hoops tonight. Semifinals of the Summit League tournament. They take on Denver. Pre-game coverage begins at 8 o'clock on our sister station, 1290 Coil. That is where Gary Sharp is, and he will be bringing you that action. 8:30 is your tip, or approximately 8:30 whenever the first game between South Dakota State and St. Thomas wraps up. So hoping the Mavs can get themselves into a chip tomorrow night, into a Summit League championship
As a
game.
championship, not as in a bowl of Doritos.
I mean, if that helps, then
But
okay.
if you win, you can have
Yeah.
all the Doritos you want.
Damn straight. Connor Happer Show is next. We got the crossover following us here on the other side of the break. Enjoy your Monday. Enjoy the great weather out there and root on those Mavericks tonight. Going to be a good start to
Omaha,
the week.
not Dallas. I hope they lose every game.
Well, yeah, that's
but the Omaha
spoken like a true
win
Spurs
every
fan
game.
right there. For Jimmy, I'm Nick. Appreciate you tuning in to Mornings with Sharp and Handley here on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Spring is in sight. Looking to wake up your yard this season? Make your neighbors green with envy with Lanahaw's wide selection of landscape supplies and homegrown plant material. Get a head start today. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.